Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Fiber with you out here at Natty Oaks in West Allis on National Avenue. Just got done having myself a cheesesteak sandwich. It's got some beautiful cheese sauce on it, had some peppers on it. Absolutely phenomenal. And then they give you fries. You get a cookie, a chocolate chip cookie to go along with it to fill the sweet tooth cravings that one may have, like I do, and I love chocolate. So it was really good, Charlie. You really you missed out again on some really, really good food, Charlie.
I feel like when we were at the Broad Stop, you didn't eat anything. I feel like you didn't touch a single bite of food at all. But now that you go somewhere without me, you just got to eat everything on the menu. I'm sure you're going to have a big old bowl of chili like Josh Albrecht at some point.
No. It was a little bit different today because I've been running all day, essentially. And I went and talked to my kid's fourth grade class on career day or whatever today. So we did that. Then I had a client meeting and everything else. So I had no time to really stop and eat anywhere. So I came straight here. I got here about 40 minutes early, so I texted ahead to have somebody order me food, and then we were all good at that point. I was feeling good at that point.
All right, fair enough. I still think you did it just to spite me, but that's all right.
Maybe a little bit, but that wasn't the main point. But anyways, really, really good. Coming on here, drink specials, all that fun stuff. Also, this place has shuttles to like everywhere. So I was walking in here. And my buddy Block, who we all know, who calls into the show all the time, I was talking to him when I was walking in, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to go to Natty Oaks before I go to Rascal Flats. I was like, Rascal Flats? I'm like, when is that? He's like, it's like a couple of weeks. We're meeting there. We're going to take the shuttle over and go check it out. I was like, they got shuttles to, like, concerts? He's like, yeah, man, shuttles to everything. Like American Family Field, Pfizer, whatever. Like, that's the way to go. This is the way to go. First of all, it's great because it's like two streets, and they're kind of in the center of this little like island is where Natty Oaks is situated. So it's real easy to get in and out of. The food is amazing. This is how many times have we been here now? 3 or 4 times, something like that. The food is just outstanding. The chili is really good. Obviously, Josh Albrecht always tweets out about his big old bowl of chili that he has on Fridays here from Inside Wisconsin Sports. So really, really good food. Come hang out at Natty Oaks. All right, coming up on today's show, it is a Football Friday. David Hall from the Molly Haw Show on 670. The Score will join us coming up at 3:20. Charlie Sounds of the day, as always, at 3:40. Green and Gold update time brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Ryan Wood, Packers beat writer from the Green Bay Press Gazette, joins us at 4 o'clock. Brand new segment debuting today. We'll do it every Friday. Plead the Fifth Fridays. Brought to you by Habish and Rotier. It's your opportunity to kind of think back to what happened during the week and who would you wish just would have just shut their mouth and not talked this week. That is the big question that we're going to find out at 4:20. So figure out who you're going to bring up and what they said and why you want him to keep quiet. 4:40, things that Sparky missed. Plus, it's Follow the Money with Austin Herdenia from the Potawatomi Sportsbook as he tells us which games have the most money on them coming up at the Potawatomi Sportsbook in Milwaukee. First, on a Football Friday, we always start off with confident, concerned, and curious. What are you most confident about going into the Packer-Bear playoff game? What are you most concerned about? What are you most curious about going into this game? Nicolay Law, talk and text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On social media, streaming live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Thanks for tuning in here on a Football Friday. Don't forget, tomorrow, after the game, 7 o'clock, kick with the Green Bay Football post-game show powered by Lakeland University with Josh Albrecht and myself co-hosting that show tomorrow night. Tommy Wirtz with the night off tomorrow. So Josh Albrecht pitching in and do appreciate that. All right, you want to start with confident? And again, this is not, you know what? No, we're going to change this today. We're going to change it. We're going to change it, right? Since you are Chicago Charlie, because of your father, I blame him 1,000% on this whole fiasco. Yeah. Just like people will kind of blame me probably for my kid. But I will blame your father because you grew up in Brookfield, Wisconsin, played high school in Brookfield, Wisconsin, but your dad messed you all up from being from Illinois, and you root for all those teams. So, having said that, I want you to take the Chicago side in each one of these confident, concerned, and curious, and I'm going to speak from the Packers side
All right.
in the confident, concerned, and curious, because I really feel like if you look, whether it be the Potawatomi Sportsbook or you look at other places, this all is within what? Packers favored by a point, Bears favored by a point. Packers by a point and a half, Bears by a point and a half. This is one of those games where it really feels like it's a 50-50 coin flip as far as who's going to win the game. Now, who would represent heads, who represents tails, that's who I would pick. The Packers represented tails. You always pick tails. And I'd probably pick the Packers. But I think it's pretty split. And it also feels like a large portion of both fan bases don't have a tremendous amount of faith that their own team is going to win. Like, I talked to several people today about this, Packers and Bears fans, and the response was always, I don't know. We'll see. Coin flip game or 50-50. I don't know. That's a lot of what I've heard. Really haven't heard any arrogant, boisterous comments like, roll out the helmets. Packers are going to kill the Bears. Haven't heard that from anybody. And I haven't heard it from a Bears fan either, saying that they're going to kill the Packers. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of confidence on either side of this one, Charlie.
No, not at all. And I really don't blame anybody. As much as this is going to be the most entertaining, the best game of the playoffs, usually that comes with a little bit of a favorite and a little bit of an underdog, but I just don't see that at all. I think the Bears and Packers both have a lot of weaknesses, and honestly, I think they share a lot of weaknesses, and it's about who can overcome those same weaknesses first. And right now, I feel like it's probably the Packers in my mind, but at the same time, I'm still rooting for the Bears, and I'm not going to be surprised at all if for some reason they can come out and blow the Packers out of the water, or vice versa. If the Packers blow the Bears out of the water, I'm not going to be surprised just as much as it's a close game, goes to overtime, just like the last matchup.
Yeah, I will be stunned if this is a blowout either way. Like, I just, in my mind, I can't wrap my head around how this becomes a blowout on either side. First of all, I don't think Jordan Love is going to throw 3 interceptions or something crazy, right? There may be one, maybe a tip ball, something happens. Bears get what they always get, a break. But again, the difference is a break happens, they take advantage. The Packers had several opportunities to take advantage of breaks in the last month, 2 months, and they drop every ball that comes their way, and they don't take advantage of it. And that's why this is such a big deal as far as them winning the turnover battle, more so in this game than any other game they've had this year. But having said that, what are you confident about going into this game? Nikolai Law, talk to text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. You can also find us on social media at WI Sports Radio. All right, Charlie, give me the loser side of this. Give me the Bear side of this. What are you confident in going into the game from your standpoint?
I think what I'm most confident in this game is in Caleb Williams. I think at this point in the season, the Packers' defensive backroom has shown their weaknesses. And I think a lot of teams, especially well-coached teams, are going to know how to take advantage of that aspect of their defense, especially without the pass rush help that we've gotten, or the Packers have gotten from a Micah Parsons in the past. This is a game where I think Caleb Williams has a lot of pressure on his shoulders, not to really, overperform, but to go out there and just do his job. And I think there's a big part of me that believes he's going to do more than just his job. I'm feeling at least 2 touchdowns through the air and a rushing touchdown in this game for Caleb Williams, and I'm pretty confident.
I don't worry about him, to be honest with you, from a Packer fan perspective. I'm more concerned about the running game than I am losing to Caleb. Again, we've been talking about this all week. I feel like the game could not get here soon enough. 5 days of talking about the same game. Literally, at some point, it's like, dude, enough. Can we just play the game? But if they lose because Caleb Williams balls out, I'm going to be okay with that. It's just going to be like, okay, it happens. But don't lose the way that everybody expects you to lose, which is they run for 200 yards. You can't stop them. And then Caleb Williams runs for 80 yards because you can't stop him in his legs. If his arm beats you, all right, that's how we'll lose. Fine, I'll deal with it, right? No Micah Parsons. Your corners suck, so not that big of a surprise. I'll tell you from a Packer fan standpoint, what I'm confident this Packers offense is going to throw a bunch of points up on the board, right? 20-plus points on the board. They're going to have at least 2-3 touchdowns in this game. They're going to be able to move the ball against the Bears defense. Everybody does. I don't think it's going to be any different in this game. They're going to be able to score. And I know the wind is an issue. And I heard Stampy on earlier today, the meteorologist up in Green Bay, Inside Wisconsin Sports, talking about the wind, 25-mile-an-hour winds, 30-mile-an-hour winds. LaFleur addressed it earlier in the week. Come on, man. We played in the wind the last time we were there. Like, we know what it is. We'll just have to deal with it. But I'm confident this offense is going to go. Now, I'm not going to say that Josh Jacobs is going to run for 100 yards because you'll never hear me say I'm confident in that. There's just no chance that's going to happen. So I'm not going to say that. But what I do think is they're going to be able to average 3.5, 4 yards at least on the ground. And that will be enough, right? They may not have 40 or 50 carries in the game like the Bears are going to have, but they'll be able to do enough to keep the Bears defense honest. And really, Charlie, that's all they need to do at the end of the day.
You won't say you're confident in it, but I think my concern for the Chicago Bears is that I'm pretty confident Josh Jacobs is going to be able to run over the Bears in this game. He's had those couple of games to rest. I feel like people are so focused on the Bears run game in this matchup, in this wild card round, that they haven't really thought about how much the Packers are going to use their run game with Jordan Love not playing for the past 3 weeks. I think there's going to be something to getting that run game going in order to give Jordan Love those open opportunities in the pass game to get going. And I think Josh Jacobs, again, is, like I said about Caleb Williams, ready for a moment like this. And he hasn't really gotten to have a moment like this. I think this is a shot for him to come out and break out of that semi-slump that wasn't even really a slump. He just played through injuries this season, but a lot of people haven't given him the credit he deserves as a main piece of this offense. I think this is the perfect game to go out there and show that he can do that. The Bears' run defense is worse than their pass defense at this point, and their pass defense is getting Kyler Gordon, their best slot cornerback, into that system this week. I think this is a situation where I'm pretty concerned that the Packers try to go heavy into that run game approach that they talked about all preseason.
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to try to do that, especially if early indications are they can't stop the Bears running game. Because as we've talked about, the worst thing that happens here is Bears get the ball first. They put together 15, 16 plays. Out goes the Packers offense for their first drive. They go 1, 2, 3 punt. Bears string together another long drive. And again, I don't care if it's 3 points or 7 points. It could be 6-0 at that point. And in reality, it's going to be way worse than 6-0 because your defense is spent. And we're probably at that point already into the second quarter, and you've had 3 offensive possessions. That is the absolute worst case scenario. And that's something the Packers have to make sure they avoid. Okay, if we give up a long drive to them, you have to answer with at least 8, 9, 10 plays on your side to try to give your defense a rest. That's where my concern is. Now, if you can hold their ground game intact like you did in the first half of that last game to where it wasn't a factor and you're forcing punts, okay, well, we feel good. And now just don't shoot yourself in the foot. What are you concerned about going into this game? Nicolay Law talking text line as well, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. I think going into this game as far as what there is to be concerned about from a Packers standpoint is stopping this Bears ground game. I don't really have anything for the Packers offense that I'm concerned about per se. I am concerned about stopping Swift and Monangai and those guys from really getting off and going early in this game. They've got to be able to maintain their composure and make sure that, they're not averaging 5.5 yards a carry in the first half of this football game, and your defense is dragging their dead bodies onto the field for the third quarter, and you're in a bad situation at that point. So think my concern is that they run for over 150 yards. That's what I'll say. If they keep them under 150, I think they're in pretty good shape. They go over 150, they're going to lose this game.
You said you didn't have a concern for the Packers offense, but we talked about wide receiver depth the other day. Just in from Ryan Wood 2 minutes ago, Packers wide receiver Dontavian Wicks has been downgraded out of tomorrow's night's playoff game in Chicago as he tried to work his way back from a concussion.
I think we assume that. We talked about this yesterday about Matthew Golden is going to be an injury away from having to be a very important piece because now those top 3 are Watson, Dobbs, and Reed, and then it's Golden. So if somebody else gets hurt in that game, Matthew Golden's going to be on the field and stay on the field and have to do something. So I know Adam Stanovich says, well, he's not going to be a prominent part in the playoffs. Well, big mouth. Now you're an injury away from him being a prominent role in the playoffs and having to do something. Now The story, listen, just hear me out. If they win this game and Golden goes for 100 or more receiving and has a couple of touchdowns, that is gigantic, because then in Seattle, they haven't had to worry about, they haven't seen anything from Matthew Golden on tape all year. He's got like 5 catches. So, whatever. Don't got to worry about him. Now you put that on tape. Now that's something else that this Seahawks defense has to worry about. And more importantly, the confidence that he will get from it and that Jordan Love will get from throwing it to him and being able to rely on him. I mean, it's through the roof. It changes everything if something like that to occur. Having said that, I don't want to see anybody else hurt in this wide receiving core in order for him to have the opportunity. Just putting it out there, if it does happen and he goes off, it's huge.
It is huge for this game. I don't know if Seattle is really all that worried about that. They still are the number 1 defense in the entire National Football League. I think going into that game, I think they'll still have a pretty good game plan, and the Packers should still be more concerned despite a good game from Matthew Golden. I think that would more come from the Bears defense just not being ready for that, which I can 100% see. If they are going to make them a bigger part of this offense in this game, if they have to, I think the Bears should be pretty worried about that because you haven't seen that film. It's kind of like the Lions at the beginning of the season when you didn't know Micah Parsons was going to be on the Packers, and they kind of scrambled with their offensive game plan, went super vanilla, and it screwed them over in that first game of the season, kind of set a tone for the rest of their season. This could be one of those tone setter type things just in the playoffs.
He is Charlie Usett, see Sparky Pfeiffer over here. Confident, concerned, and curious. We do it each and every football Friday. What are you confident about in this Packers game, concerned about, and curious about? And I'll tell you what, I'll even open it up to you Bears fans if you want to talk about it from the Chicago side, because I know you guys are all over us right now doing our shows all week long. Let's see here. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. Let's go to the 262 from Ziggy. What are the odds that Sparky went full neck vein on those 4th graders? Pretty good. Love it. Ha, ha, ha.
Did you give them full spark?
I did not yell at any 4th graders when I spoke to my kids' class today.
That's what you're supposed to do. Isn't that what career day is about, showing off the career?
No, man, I was professional. I held my composure. I knew half the kids in his class.
Glasses on.
They
smart.
played. No, did not have my glasses on. But I did have, half the boys in that class all play sports with my kids. So I know half of the kids that are in there already. I'm the only parent lined up to do the career day. One of the kids' dads might be listening is a pilot. Now, how in the world are you not signed up to go talk to these kids? That's far more fascinating than some sports talk dude coming in and talking about sports. But they had a lot of good questions. It was fun. I was in there for like a half hour. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure. Another one here from the 262. I'm confident the weather will have an effect on the efficiency of both teams on offense and special teams. I'm concerned that this team's sudden chipper attitude translates into poor individual performances on the field. And I'm curious if a supposed pain-free Josh Jacobs in the game is the game plan and he eats. Yeah, could be. Well, Floyd's like, all right, you ready? Let's go. 25 carries. Let's see what we got, which is fine. But that means the offensive line has to block. That means if Zach Tom isn't playing, still waiting on that, if Zach Tom doesn't play, that means Kennard is at right tackle more than likely. That means it's Kennard and Belton on the right side. Now, does that put you in a better position than Tom and Belton is on the right side run blocking? I don't know. Because on the left side, I have no faith in Aaron Banks and Rasheed Walker on the left side to run the ball. So you're going to have to run either between Ryan and Belton in the middle or to the outside if you're going to go outside to the tackles. That's where I'm trying to run the football. That Zach Tom injury is a big deal. That could be something we're talking about on postgame show tomorrow night that, man, if Zach Tom plays, this may be a different game. So hopefully he's able to play.
If Zach Tom doesn't play, though, you said Darian Kennard. You don't think Jordan Morgan's earned a role at that right tackle position over Darian Kennard?
Are you being funny?
I'm not. I wasn't until you made me laugh. I was being serious. He played well at right tackle for those 2 games.
I don't know, man. Maybe they'll put Jordan Morgan out.
Why not?
I guess. Maybe they will. We'll see. You can't have any patience, though. Like, if it gets messed up early, he's got to come out and Kennard's got to go in. Like, this can't be, he'll figure it out by the 4th. No. If he struggles in the first quarter, you got to quickly make the change and move forward. If you want to give him the chance, right, because you've invested a first-round pick, I don't think I'd be super upset. If he plays well, great. But if he doesn't, you got to be willing to go get him as quickly as possible. What are you curious about going into this game? Nicolay Law talking text line 677-1250. What say you, Charlie?
From a Bears fan's perspective, I think what I'm most curious about is to see how the Bears fans react if the Bears lose this game. I kind of want to see how all these people that have been coming out talking all their stuff on Twitter, how they react to this loss and whether they take it as a complete shutdown because of what happened in 2018 with the double doink and everything that happened there. If they could just go, oh, great, another 5 years of reset before we go into the playoffs, or if this season really did feel different to them. I think I want to kind of compare it to what happened with the Milwaukee Brewers this season. I know the Brewers had higher expectations going into the season than the Chicago Bears did for their side of things. But at the same time, the way the Brewers season felt was pretty magical throughout that year. It really felt fun. It felt like it was going to be a World Series type push. And I feel like the Bears season has felt like that as well from a Bears fan's perspective. And then the Brewers went and lost in the second round of the playoffs after that magical first game against the Cubs. And it was like, all right, now I kind of feel less great about the magical carpet ride that we were just talking about we were on, but I'm not completely depressed because I know what this Milwaukee Brewers team can do. The Bears aren't there. The Bears are a team that just makes you depressed if they get to that point and don't make it run. Is it Super Bowl or bust for a lot of Bears fans this year? That's what I'm curious about.
You know what's funny to me that you bring that up?
Mm-hmm.
What's funny to me about that is Matt Spiegel from 670 The Score was on with Mason and Thunder and those guys. And Spiegel compared this Bears team to the 2015 Cubs team, to where they get to the NLCS, they get bounced, and they get swept. And they're like, hey, it's okay. We did better than we thought. Now we go next year. And then they go and they win the World Series, right? But he points out that before they got to the NLCS, they beat their hated rival, the Cardinals, in that divisional round. And he goes, if you look at it right now, it feels kind of the same way for the Bears, where they're a year ahead of time somewhere in that area. They have a chance to beat a hated rival in the Packers, then potentially lose after that, and you feel real good. But as Spiegel pointed out, if they lose this game, he's like, the next 3 weeks are going to suck because people are going to be livid. But after you get past that and people calm down, then maybe big picture sets in, and you're like, okay, yeah, it sucks losing to those guys, but it was still a good year. From a Packers standpoint, if you lose this game, it's going to be fire LaFleur, trade Love. This team is horrible. Goody needs to go too. Hire somebody else. It's the world's going to end if they lose this game. Regardless of how hurt they are, the world will officially end with Packer fans if they lose this game on Saturday night. I'm curious, from my standpoint in this Packers game, to see how much Jeff Hafley brings pressure on Caleb Williams. That's what I'm curious to see. I fully expect him not to bring a whole bunch of blitz packages and pressures. I just don't. Like, if you said they're going to blitz 8 times in this game, I'd be like, that's probably right. If you said they're going to blitz 20 times in this game, I'd be like, no chance. I don't believe that to be true. And I don't think if I'm Caleb Williams, I expect him to do that. I think if I'm Caleb Williams, I expect him to focus on stopping the running game. My play action game should go really well, right? It should work because they're going to be so focused on the run. And then if I'm Caleb Williams, I want to get a couple bootlegs. And if I'm the Packers, I'm going to have a spy in the middle, Quay Walker or Edgerrin Cooper pick. I'm running for maybe a fifth one once in a while. But, like, bringing 7? No way. There's no chance. Because if you miss and he gets out, it's over. Bye-bye. He's upfield 30, 40 yards or more, maybe a touchdown. Or if you miss and your corner ain't doing his job and Odunze's running wide open down the sideline and he wings it down there, big play, explosive play. That's why I'm curious to see how aggressive Hafley will get. And I don't know if you saw this yesterday, Cardinals put in an interview request for Hafley. So there you go. That Giants job that everybody thinks he's going to get. I saw a report from a New York guy that said already have had 4 conversations with Harbaugh and Brian Harlan, his agent. The Giants have. As of last night, the Dolphins had none, which makes sense now because they just hired John Eric Sullivan from the Packers. We'll get more into that coming up in a little bit. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's here at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery right here on National Avenue. I'm telling you, Charlie, you can't really see it. Maybe I'll turn it around. On the ceiling, I don't know how to do this. I'm not even going to attempt it because I'll screw something up. But on the ceiling, man, they've got like these vines or whatever hanging from the ceiling, and it's all Christmas tree ornaments, like the whole thing. And then they've got like these oversized, big, like Christmas lights hanging from the ornaments. Dude, it is awesome. Like, it is so cool. I want to
your
be in
vibe.
here at night.
That's
It's got to
your
be
vibe.
even cool. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. I want to do this on my ceiling at home. Like, I already took a picture. I was like, I wonder if I could mimic this in our living room. It'd be sweet at Christmas.
Is your
Like,
wife going to be okay with
in between the 4 Christmas trees, having all these vines with ornaments. I think I'm going to copy this next year for Christmas. I already took a picture. I was like, I want to do this. Q on YouTube Dugout Chat says, hey, if we lose, the world does not end. It starts over with renewed hope with a new regime. See, what I tell you? You can always count on Q to tell me I'm right. That's how good franchises work. Just sharing the perspective of the Packer fans. No, you're sharing the perspective of the irrational Packer fan that doesn't understand really how this all works. It's okay, though, Q. It's fine. It's fine. There are a lot of people like you, Q. They're going to go jump off a bridge if they lose this game. You know what's going to be funny, though? They win or if they lose this game, it's going to be horrible. The funny part's going to be when they extend both Goody and LaFleur 3 more years, and then Q implodes. And we just watch him blow up. I'll have a camera. His head will explode on camera. We'll sell tickets for it. The whole thing.
He's just censored himself in the chat.
Yeah. I'm just saying, Q, be ready. If they lose this and Ed Policy extends both of them, your head's going to implode. I promise you it's going to implode, and I want to be there when it does to see what it looks like for sure. On the, 509 from Tyson from Zilla says, what I'm worried about in this game is the officiating crew. They have a bad rap sheet. I don't want a bad penalty, call or no call, to decide this game. To which every player will tell you, well, then don't make damn sure it's not close at the end. If you don't want a penalty to determine it, make sure you're up enough where a penalty's not going to determine it. I agree with you. The officiating crew doesn't have the best of reputations. So, yes, it could be a game where one side or both sides are complaining about the refs after the game, right?
I think so. And I think this is a game where referees are going to be heavily involved, whether you like it or not. I think there's going to be a lot of chippiness, which is going to get the refs to want to watch this game a little bit closer. This is one where you kind of just have to deal with it, and the best team will just learn how to work around it.
Q on YouTube, I'm sorry. I know we're talking a lot about Q because he's just nonstop going. If we win, Matt LaFleur is the best coach ever. I will never talk bad about Matt LaFleur again if we win. Long live King Matt LaFleur if he takes down the Bears. I want you to take your phone and take a picture of this. So then on Monday, we can put that screenshot of this up there of Q. And every time he wants to go there, you can just put it back up on YouTube and on X where we're streaming live and remind him, no. We have to be positive going forward. Yeah, so I think that's obviously a good one for sure. All right. Take a quick time. I'll come back on the other side out here at Natty Oaks. And we're going to get into our next topic du jour. Now, again, remember, we have David Hall from Mulleen Hall coming up at 3:20. We'll get the Bears perspective. Ryan Wood, Green Bay Packers Press Gazette beat writer at 4 o'clock. But up next, what's more important in this game coming up against the Bears? The Packers offense not turning the ball over or the Packers defense forcing a turnover? Nicolay Law Talker text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. And let me tell you about our good friends over there at Wendy's. Did you know that when the Bucks win, you win at Wendy's? They're 4-2 in their last 6, folks. After every Bucks win, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosted classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after a win, so act fast and get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's. That's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook and Natty Oaks in West Dallas. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Charlie Hughes back in the studio. I'm out here at Natty Oaks Pub and Eatery. Come hang out with us here on National Avenue in West Allis. The food is outstanding. Had cheesesteak, fries. They give you a chocolate chip cookie that comes with it. Beverages are top-notch. Bar is always filled and hopping, and it's going to be no different tonight. A Friday night, got the playoff game on. Coming up tonight as well. Come out here watching Netty's Indiana team take on Oregon. They got TVs all over the place. And again, if you're a Christmas lover like me, like this is simply amazing. I've already contacted Kay and Charlie. She said, yep, I've seen it done. I think we can pull it off.
All right. You're so lucky she agrees with like everything you like too. The Christmas, the Disney stuff. Like you guys are just locked in, man.
I'm gonna try and mimic this ceiling here, all these ornaments in my living room next year, and see if I can make this work. Worst case scenario, I can always come back here and ask them how they did it, and then just do the exact same thing. But I mean, think about it, 4 trees, and then we have them like running either diagonal between the trees, or we have them going straight across. It's gonna be sweet.
If you say so, Sparky. If you say so.
It's gonna be awesome, man.
Good luck. I can't wait to hear how frustrated you are trying to put that up.
That absolutely might happen. Yeah. Hey, all right. What's more important versus the Bears coming up tomorrow night? The Packers offense not turning over the ball, or the Packers defense getting a turnover from that Bears offense? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, streaming live on Twitter and X at WI Sports Radio. And of course, you could stream us too and check out all of our podcasts at wisportsradio.com. Already got text messages coming in. This is from the 509. It's more important than the Bears don't get the turnovers. They've been winning games all year when they get the turnovers. We've played all season not relying on the turnovers. Why start now? Yes, it will be nice if we get 1 or 2. It's by far more important that we protect the rock. This is my thoughts on this one going in. I kind of have the exact opposite view of this, right? My thought is, why in the world would they stop getting lucky with some of these breaks that they're getting? Tip ball, interception, pick six, back the other way and a tip ball. Like, that's the type of stuff. And when you're going good, that's what happens. But you know what? When you're going bad, that tip ball falls to the turf. Nobody catches it. And your defense is like, oh, my God. Like, we keep having these opportunities and we can't cash in. That's how the Packers' defense has been. I would far more expect that the Bears are going to get a turnover, maybe 2. They're going to get 1 or 2 probably in this game. The key for me, for the Packers, is just catch 1 or 2. Like, that's what we're looking for. If Caleb Williams throws one and hits you in the chest, catch the ball, right? If you're in a position to tip the ball in the air for somebody else to potentially get it, then tip the ball in the air and do that. I would be an advocate, and this will never be said by Jeff Halfley, but I would be an advocate of gambling a little bit in this game in the secondary. I would be. I'd be telling the corners, hey, man, if you think you got a good jump, go for it. If you miss, we'll get you on the back end with the safety. Somebody will chase him down. But we want to be more aggressive going for the ball. And the same thing goes for these running backs. Be more aggressive of punching that ball out. Go for the strip more than we normally would. We want the ball. That's what we want. We haven't done well all year. And on Saturday, tomorrow, we're going to go for it. May we give up a play or 2 because we're not going for the for sure thing? Maybe. It's possible. But if we connect and we get a couple of these balls, it could be the difference in winning or losing, Charlie.
We talk about how much time of a possession is going to control the outcome of this game. And I think right now we're relying really heavily on the Packers offense to do that for this defense. But I think at some point here, this defense has to take that into their own hands and force a few turnovers and put themselves into those positions where they don't have to stay on the field for 15 plays in a drive consistently, especially in the second half. I think you're right. I think the Bears are just going to find ways to get turnovers. They're really good at punching the ball out. They're really good at finding the ball on that second tip or that first touch after it bounces off. They're just going to do that. I think the key with that is limiting those turnovers from being scoring opportunities as well. So the Bears against the 49ers turned that opening drive into that pick six, and they weren't able to get that very much afterwards, but the Packers can't allow that because their offense isn't as prolific as the 49ers have been over the past few weeks or so. So this is one where if you are going to turn the ball over, you want to make the Bears offense still have to drive downfield. So don't create turnovers that are going to result in points for the Bears, But on the defensive side of the ball, I think it's more important that you get those turnovers in order to give yourself those breaks, that you're not relying on the offense all game to do that for you.
Yeah, Brett on the Dugout YouTube chat has a couple messages up there. Packers aren't turning it over, and if they do, it's only if Diggs is in playing cornerback position and gambling. That's the thing with Diggs. They've been throwing at him all year, and he hasn't stopped anything. But this is a guy that in the past has history of getting turnovers. 11 interceptions in 1 year. That would have been a Packer team record had he did it with the Packers a couple of years ago instead of the Dallas Cowboys. That's just not a thing. But that does tell you he has hands. Maybe he's not as quick as he was, right? Because he's been beat up with injuries the last couple of years. Maybe that's not the thing. But the thing that could be is he's not going to drop a ball if Caleb Williams throws a ball and misses, right? Overthrows the receiver, boom, there's Diggs. Playing zone, got the ball, going back the other way. That's all you're looking for. He doesn't have to return it for 6 or anything like that. He can literally catch the ball and fall down for all I care. I just need the ball back. And the shorter field that you give Jordan Love in this offense, the better you feel about scoring, because as we've talked about, they're not going 0 for 5 in the damn red zone again. There's no chance they are going 0 for 5 in the red zone where they're not going to get anything out of it. They will score points in this game, Charlie.
I think their playbook should be less limited with Jordan Love out there instead of Malik Willis when it comes to those short yardage kind of situations. I think with Malik Willis, a lot of the struggle is his decision making early on in these plays. Is he chooses to move and get out of the pocket a lot more than a Jordan Love will. I think Jordan Love is able to let these plays develop a little bit longer, like the better quarterbacks in the league in those red zone situations. Caleb Williams is really good in a lot of these red zone situations because lets the play develop and gets those guys open that way. Jordan Love can do that too. I think that opens up the playbook a lot more and hopefully gets a guy like Jaden Reed more involved in the red zone. Romeo Doubs earlier in the seasons against the Cowboys was a key piece in the red zone for this Packers team. Let's go back to that. I think they can do that. I don't see 0 for 5 again either.
No, I don't see 0 for 5 either. So let's say they get in the red zone 5 times. I mean, we've been talking about shooting themselves in the foot the last time they played them. But again, we can talk about the onside kick. We can talk about the fumble and stuff like that. But 0 for 5 with this offense, with these players, that's just not going to happen very often in the course of a season. It's just not. So you assume that they're going to find ways to get into the end zone coming up tomorrow night. Now, having said that about this Packers team, we sit here and we talk about big moments, right? Caleb Williams, you said earlier, had his big moment against the Packers on that last possession, that last drive to win that game. Jordan Love now is going to be in a position to, do you get that Aaron Rodgers Atlanta Falcons game where you're just unconscious and can't miss? Like everything you throw is on the money. Guys are catching it in stride, and you're just tearing up the opposing defense. If Jordan Love has that type of game, then it may not matter as much about what his defense is doing if he plays at that level. But I can't go into this game expecting him to play at that level, regardless of what this Bears defense has looked like.
Since we've been talking about it this whole week and all last week as well, I think this idea that Jordan Love has to be the one to take over in order for this Packers team to beat the Bears, I think that notion has kind of gone away a little bit, and I can start to see other ways this Packers team can go out and win this football game just because of the way that I feel like the Bears are more likely to find ways to lose this game at this point in the season. Their luck has to run out at some point, and they've been really lucky. Yeah, there's skill involved in it too, but they have been. In the Packers, I think at some point here, are probably the better coach team because they've been with Matt LaFleur longer. This unit has been together longer, so they're going to go out there and in moments where they need to figure it out really quickly, I think they can do that better than the Bears. I don't know. I don't think this is all on Jordan Love. There's more to this team that needs appreciation than we're giving.
Yeah, Charlie, use it. Sparky Fiber with you. Looking at X here, got a tweet from, as he puts it, Adventures of Carl. I know him as Carl on the South Side, who always calls into the show. And I will tell you about my buddy Carl. Him and I rarely agree on much, but I love the passion and the energy that he brings. He tweeted out a little while ago, Natty Oaks is undefeated. Now that you and I will agree on. Natty Oaks is undefeated here on National Avenue in West Dallas. Come hang out with us. And they got shuttles to like everything. So if you're thinking about going to something downtown Milwaukee, call over Natty Oaks. Hey, do you got a shuttle going to this concert? Do you have a shuttle going to that? Odds are they do. Or if you're going to a Brewers game, American Family Field, when the Brewer season starts up, they got shuttles that go to American Family Field. And they've got unbelievably great food and beverages, great atmosphere too here at Natty Oaks. Huge outdoor patio area in the summertime when it gets a little bit warmer outside. Let's check out Natty Oaks, National Avenue in West Allis. All right, coming up on the other side, a big, big loss for the Green Bay Packers out of their front office. We'll tell you about who that is coming up next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live here at Natty Oaks in West Allis, National Avenue. Come on out, hang out here to 6 o'clock. Tommy Words, the big old hunk of love, is going to be out here from 5 to 6, single and available. Looking forward to having Tommy Words out here, getting ready to talk Green Bay, Chicago, special preview show. He does Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up, right, Monday through Friday, 5 to 6. So it'll be Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up, but specifically talking Packers and the Bears. He has Eli Berkovitz. It's going to be on the show this evening. What is that at? 5:20, I think, is
Correct.
what it is, Charlie, right?
5:20.
Yeah, 5:20. Eli Berkovitz is going to be on, so that'll be a fun interview to listen to as well. Earlier today, there was a report, and it looks like it is correct, that John Eric Sullivan has been named general manager of the Miami Dolphins. And the question we only have a couple minutes here, but how concerned are you by this loss to the front office considering Green Bay's track record? And again, if you go back and think about Green Bay's track record of the guys that have come and gone and how seemingly it doesn't matter and they just continue to replace guys, think about this. I mean, John Dorsey, obviously, he's been with the Cleveland Browns. He was with Kansas City Chiefs. John Schneider with the Seahawks, Reggie McKenzie with the Raiders, Goody, Elliott Wolf with the Patriots. And now John Eric Sullivan with the Dolphins. I will say this. They're running out. All these guys were all there together, right? Back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, Sullivan and Goody, they were just scouts walking around the combine together. They were inseparable. Everywhere one was, the other one was, right? So, I mean, how cool is that? Now, fast forward, Goody's GM, he's his right-hand guy, and now he's leaving. In my opinion, this is a gigantic hole in this front office that I am concerned about going forward, mainly because of the trust factor that Goody had with John Eric Sullivan. I mean, it would be like saying, all right, Charlie, you're going to go to a different show, and we're going to hire this dude off the street to come in. That'd be a gigantic hole because literally Charlie knows what I'm thinking before I'm thinking it and can tell me what I forgot before I realize I forgot it. That's how good Charlie and I are right now in the last year or so working together. That'd be a big hole on this show. So for them, they've been together 20-plus years. This is a big deal. It's a great hire by the Miami Dolphins, right? Now, who does he bring in? Does he bring in Jeff Hafley? Does he steal Hafley and bring him to Miami? He's got to find a quarterback first because Tua is not going to be the guy. So he's got a huge mountain to go over. They got to trust him, though. They got to trust him. Let him do draft and development. If they don't, he won't be there very long. Don't forget Potawatomi Sportsbook as well. Telling you, unbelievable fine dining restaurants all over the place. The Sportsbook will be packed, I'm sure, tonight for the playoff game, for the playoffs this weekend. And coming up on Monday Night Football, 2,000 square foot center, screen over 30 sporting events at one time. Got the Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen. Reserve online at Potawatomi.com to get your seat today. Coming up on the other side here at 3 o'clock, David Hall of Mully & Hall on the 670 The Score will join us at 3:20. But up next, let's talk about this offensive line. They had a plan in the offseason. Did it work? And should they continue their plan? That's up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is time again as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Natty Oaks on National Avenue in West Allis. Christmas decorations are amazing. I'm going to mimic this in my living room next Christmas. Not to mention unbelievably great food. Had the Philly cheesesteak today like I had the last time I was here. So good. Got the cheese sauce, everything. I am weird, I will admit. It broke apart in my hands. And I said, to heck with this. I'm using a fork and a knife. So I ate the whole thing with a fork and knife, had fries, had a chocolate chip cookie that came with it. I'm on my sixth soda right now. All is good in the world out here at Natty Oaks. Come on out here, hang out. Got the playoff game coming up tonight as well. If you want to come do that, they'll have the playoff games on all weekend, including the game coming up tomorrow night, Green Bay and Chicago. Josh Albright and myself will be on immediately following that one on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with the Green Bay Football Postgame Show powered by Lakeland University tomorrow night from 10 o'clock until midnight. So looking forward to hearing from you all after the game. We'll hear from Ryan Wood, Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, all those fine folks. Coming up this hour, David Haw, Mully and Haw on 670 The Score. We'll get the other side's perspective. And Charlie's Sounds of the Day coming up, brought to you by Prize Picks. That comes up at 3:40 today. Let's talk about the Packers offensive line, if you do not mind. Something that Charlie found earlier today. I'll let you have him read you the stats that he picked up. But the Packers try to go bigger on the offensive line this year. And you talk about Aaron Banks, that signing in free agency at guard, drafting Belton, Mr. Escalade himself, to come in and play, and taking him in the second round. Everybody was shocked. Mason Crosby and I were doing our viewing party at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. They took Belton. I was like, whoa, okay. We are officially going the Philadelphia Eagles way. You sign Banks, you draft Belton. We're trying to get gigantic to push people out of the way and run the football even more than we have had in the past. And it made sense that was the plan of how they wanted to go about things, because that's how Matt LaFleur wants to play offense. Having said that, would you want to see that trend continue going forward? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, streaming live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. Charlie Usen, give me the numbers.
All right, so if we head over to 33rd team, they went out and ranked the best pass pro offensive lines in 2025, and this is ranked off of their average pressure rates, sack rates, and time to throw. The Chicago Bears had the number one offensive line in football, followed by Denver and San Francisco at 2 and 3. If we head down the list a little bit, the 22nd ranked team on this list is the Green Bay Packers.
Ugh.
If we head over to Pro Football Focus, if you wanted an idea of what their run blocking grades looked like, they had an average of a 60.1 run blocking grade according to PFF. That ranks them 20th in the league. The Bears are the third-rated run-blocking team behind the Rams and San Francisco again.
So, again, obviously looking at it the way we are right now, it did not work for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Banks has battled injuries through preseason and through the first half of the year. Now has been relatively healthy, it feels like, in the second half of the year. So you have that to go off of. Jenkins, who was supposed to be your starting center, which was supposed to, kind of get bigger at the center position after moving on for Josh Myers. He didn't play that great, not as good as he played as a guard at least. Then he got hurt, and then you had to move Sean Ryan into that center position, and he's had his problems, as we know, especially with Malik Willis. So you've got that. And then Belton, who they kept talking about at tackle, and I kept talking about putting him at guard all through training camp. Finally, they decided after Jordan Morgan stunk out loud for a majority of the season at right guard, okay, enough is enough. We're getting closer to the postseason. We need to fix that. So they put Belton in at right guard, and boom, shakalaka, right guard is fixed just like that. And then, of course, you have Zach Tom at right tackle. There's definitely going to have to be decisions made by this Packers coaching staff, by this Packers front office, as far as, do you want to continue to get bigger up front and be road graders up front and push guys out of the way and run the football down the other team's throat and take some of that pressure off of Jordan Love? Or do you want to be more of a finesse-esque type of offensive line that are more pass protectors more than anything else, which is what it was under Mike Holmgren. That's what it was under Mike McCarthy for the most part. The number one goal was protect the Hall of Famer. That was it. Protect the package at the end of the day. And for the most part, they did that. They protected Brett. They protected Aaron Rodgers. Favre had a couple of years when they made the and I put all that on Ted Thompson. When he decided, I'll find a guard anywhere. That's fine. We don't need Mike Wall or Ron Rivera. It's fine. Don't worry about us. And then it took him like 2 seasons to figure out the guard position. So other than that, for the most part, Brett had a pretty good offensive line in front of him. Rodgers has had similar success with left tackles year in and year out. David Bakhtiari, Josh Sidden on that line, TJ Lang. I mean, they had some studs on that offensive line. Corey Lindsley, I was on that offensive line at center for a long time. So did a great job. Now I feel like they're kind of stuck in between. They got 2 big road graders. Now they've got to determine, okay, do we continue pushing that direction this offseason based on what we do in free agency, which I can't imagine will be much, or based on what we do in the draft, right? So you have no first-round pick. Do you attack that offensive line in the 3rd round? I can't imagine you do it in the 2nd round. You have too many other issues. But do you go after an offensive lineman in the 3rd or 4th round with the idea of, okay, he's going to back up player X with the idea that he's going to start in 2 years or whatever the case may be? Maybe that's a route you go. I think you continue to go that route. I prefer to get bigger and continue to go that way, mainly because in today's NFL, the way you look at it right now, it's kind of reverse course back to how it was prior to the spread them out offense. Everybody wings it all over. Running backs don't get drafted in the 1st round. Nobody cares. And now history is starting to repeat itself, and we're starting to get back to that. I wouldn't be surprised if in 2026-27 season, you see the rising again out of the ashes of the fullback position. Would not surprise me if you see fullbacks all of a sudden starting to be rostered, starting to be used more than they have had in the past. And we start going back down that direction again against these opposing defenses. How many guys were there that ran for, I think I had it safe, I think it's been 17 guys ran for over 1,000 yards this year or something crazy like that. That's a significant number of running backs atop 1,000 yards in one season. Just a few years ago, there was like 8 or 9. Now all of a sudden we're at 17. That tells you where offenses have gone, Charlie. And if defenses are going to start playing against it, you're going to need another blocker. And that fullback position, I think, is going to come back and be in vogue again here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, 17. And then you had 4 other guys that were above 900 as well. So they were pretty close. Guys like Josh Jacobs or Jalen Warren, who didn't play every game, missed out on that threshold. So they could have had even more this year. I can see a world where the fullback is going to come back, but also at the same time in college, the fullbacks kind of have to come back first. You kind of have to get guys prepared to play that type of position because it's not like just playing tight end. It's a different kind of position. It's a different kind of mindset for that position. So I don't know if it's just going to come back like that in an instant in 1 year because it just hasn't been there. A lot of other teams have tried just doing this multi-back set where you can go out there with 2 different running backs where one of those guys can just block because they've been able to do that. You just get a bigger body guy to go out there and do that for you. So I see that trend continuing a little bit more. One thing I did notice from a lot of these teams over the past few years that the Packers haven't really taken that approach is going out and getting like a true veteran for this offensive line. That's something the Bears did in getting Joe Thuney, and they brought him in from the Chiefs. He's got this championship experience, but it really did improve the whole of their offensive line, bringing in a guy like that. San Francisco brought in Trent Williams in that same kind of position. I think the Packers just need somebody to kind of cement themselves within this offensive line. Right now, there's too much switching and moving around still, even at this point in the season where you're seeing a lot of guys get tried at different spots. I don't think that allows you to solidify a group and get them in all on the same page in the same mindset. What this Packers team needs is for the Packers to say, you know what, Zach Tom, you are for sure the right tackle of our future, and that is not changing. Nothing's changing, but we don't even get that. We still are a little worried that Zach Tom might be playing left tackle. He might be playing center, though. Still, we still talk about it. We still bring it up because it's not solidified. You need a player that's in there that solidifies that, and then it's a lot easier to solidify the rest of the line around that.
You're right about that. But again, unless you have a Bakhtiari type left tackle where it's a for sure Hall of Famer and you're not going to move him, the rest of that line's always going to be interchangeable because that's the Packers' philosophy in life in drafting offensive linemen. We talked about in the last segment of the 2 o'clock hour, all of these success stories that have come out of Green Bay, Dorsey, McKenzie, Schneider, Goody, and now the recent one going to the Dolphins and Eric Sullivan. That is a constant philosophy that has been in Green Bay. And I would expect him to do the exact same thing when we start talking about how he's going to do it in Miami. I think that's exactly what's going to be. You'll see Dolphins writers complaining about John Eric Sullivan, like, oh my God, what are we doing? Everybody's got to play 3 positions on the line, otherwise he won't draft him. Mark my words. That's exactly what's going to happen. They believe in that system. Yes, it would be great if you had, 4 All-Pros and a Pro Bowler on the line and didn't have to worry about it. But really, at the end of the day, you don't have to be a great offensive line to win in this league. You don't. You have to be good, right? You can't be horrible. You can't be
the Chargers.
Bottom third offensive line and think you're going to win. I don't care who your quarterback is. I don't care who your running back is. You're not going to be successful. If you have a top 10, top 12 offensive line, you're in a good position. They don't. As of right now, they don't have that. And that's something that normally they do have on a year-to-year basis. And that's why, we're talking about it right now as far as how do they address it? How do they fix that issue kind of going forward? So they tried to go big this last year. Didn't work, obviously. Would you want to see that trend continue? I say yes. Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio. And, of course, you can stream us on X and on YouTube. If you miss any part of the show, download any of our podcasts right there at wisportsradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcast. At Sparky with you. Charlie using out here at Natty Oaks in West Allis on National Avenue. And in case you didn't hear, we have another programming announcement coming up during the 9 to noon show with John Kuhn coming up on Monday, adding more local programming to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. So you definitely want to stay tuned to find out what that news is all about. I'm pretty excited. Very excited. Kind of a homecoming of sorts for some of us that have worked with this individual in the past. So looking forward to announcing that coming up on Monday. Again, tune in to 9 to noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. And we'll make that announcement. And I think it will be met with a huge round of applause, people being excited and saying, thank goodness. We were hoping that was going to happen. So stay tuned for that. David Haw, of course, of Mully and Haw on 670 The Score, is coming up next. And let me tell you about my friends over there at Habish, and Rotier. Today, coming up at 4:20, we debut our very first Plead the Fifth segment. That's brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. Now, the Plead the Fifth segment coming up at 4:20. Every week at 4:20 on Plead the Fifth Fridays, you're going to have the opportunity to text, call, use the Dugout or YouTube chat, or use X to tell us which player, which coach, which individual do you wish would have just pleaded the fifth and kept their mouth shut, and then point to, whatever it is that the person said, and we'll talk about it on the show. Charlie's already got a couple lined up for Plead the Fifth today coming up at 4:20. The belief is that there will be a lot of Stephen A. Smith, there'll be a lot of Colin Cowherd, a lot of Shams Charania probably as we go through the NBA season of people wanting them just to be quiet and plead the fifth. So we'll get into that. When you talk about Habish, and Rotier, man, I'm telling you right now, there's not anybody better. These guys are known nationally for good reason. They've been around almost 100 years, I tell you. And yeah, they've won huge cases, right? They got the largest personal injury verdict in the state history, which is cool. That's amazing. And you're thinking to yourself, well, man, I'm not going to get that type of money with my case because I was involved in a car accident or whatever. No, but you know what? That case is the most important case to you. That means the world to you, in which case it means the world to them to make sure you get what you deserve and you're happy at the end of the day. National reputation, hometown service, put their experience to work with you. Habish, and Rotier. It really is a no-brainer at the end of the day. All you got to do is go to habish.com, or call them to have it. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out here at Natty Oaks on National Avenue. David Hoff, 670 The Score, coming up next. Welcome back. We are Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live at Natty Oaks on National Avenue in West Allis. Come on out, check it out. I tweeted out a picture at Sparky Radio. If you take a look at it, Charlie, you'll see all the ornaments and the Christmas lights hanging from the ceiling. Man, it is sweet out here. The food is delicious. Great beverages, great bartenders, great waiters and waitresses out here take care of you. Great customer service. You want all of that at the end of the day. I love it. I say there's a big announcement coming up, and now the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line is people are texting me guesses of what it's going to be. I'm not telling you if you're right, and I'm not telling you if you're wrong. So how about those apples? You'll have to wait to find out the big announcement coming up on 9 to noon, coming up on Monday. John Kuhn, Rami Makloff, they'll be talking Packers and Bears, just like Josh Alberg and Trevor Thomas will on Inside Wisconsin Sports from 6 to 9 on Monday. And we will be, and the Mason Crosby show will be from noon to 2, and Mitch Thunder Nellis. So everybody's going to be talking about it, but we do have an announcement that we're going to kind of stick in there during 9 to noon. And like I said, kind of a homecoming of sorts. I think you guys will be pretty excited. So stay tuned for that coming up on Monday. Joining us now from the Mully and Haw Show on 670 The Score, he is David Haw. Follow him on X at David Haw. David, thanks so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Sparky, it's nice to be with you. I think you should have all of those nice things on the last weekday of your NFL season.
Yeah, maybe. Listen, I'm not going to say who I'm picking, but I don't have a ton of confidence in going into this game. I don't. I don't have a ton of confidence going in for the Packers. But the one thing that's crazy about this is, obviously, I don't live in Chicago. I don't do sports talk radio in Chicago like you do. So you talk to way more people than I do that are Bears fans. But the Bears fans that I talk to in these parts, they're kind of like the Packer fans I talk to in these parts, which is, yeah, I don't know, maybe. Kind of feels 50-50. I don't feel like either fan base feels overly confident going into this game, David Haw.
Accurate. I think that's definitely the feel and vibe here in Chicago. There's tons of confidence coming out of Hallis Hall. The team, the coaches, everybody who's going to be on the field on Saturday night at Soldier Field feels a belief that has unified them all year, Sparky, and helped turn this thing around, honestly, because Ben Johnson's arrival has coincided with a lot of things, but the biggest thing that he has brought has been this sort of the power of his personality. Outside of that, there's a lot of apprehension. There's a lot of anxiety. And there are a lot of Bears fans that, frankly, are too well aware that it has been 15 years since they won a playoff game here.
It's been a long time. And your cohort up there, Speegs, was on with Mason Crosby and Mitch Thunder Nellis. And before we came on from noon to 2. And I heard him make the comparison to the Cubs 2015 season and saying that, hey, man, that year, they didn't get to the World Series. They got to the NLCS. It ended, but everybody was still happy because the Cubs were ahead of schedule. And then in 16, they won it. And then he pointed out, but do you know who they beat in the NLDS? They hated rival Cardinals. And he looks at this Bears team as kind of being in the same situation here to do the same type of thing where beat the Packers. And if you lose after that, so be it. You weren't supposed to be here anyhow. Everybody gets super excited. Do you agree with that sentiment of where the Bears are versus where the Cubs were at that point?
I think in the Chicago sports timeline, and you look at the recent history, I mean, you could make that argument. There's some factors that are similar. You know, you had Joe Madden coming in and making a lot of change. You had Ben Johnson, who plays that role with the Bears. The NFL and Major League Baseball, I think, are very different. And you don't see the kind of turnaround in Major League Baseball that is as dramatic as what I think the Bears have done. The Bears lost 10 straight games last year. They went cycled through offensive play callers. You know, I don't need to tell you up in Milwaukee how futility has been a brand of the Bears over the last decade or so. So that to me is maybe a little bit different because the Cubs, yeah, they had been down and they brought in Theo Epstein and then Joe Madden. But I think that what Matt might have been referring to is that this feels like the Bears' success has been a little bit a year ahead of schedule, just like the Cubs in 2015, a year ahead of schedule. And anything that you accomplish in the playoffs a year ahead of schedule feels like bonus time. So in that way, I see the comparison.
You know, the other part about this, when we talk about both of these teams, I think it comes down to two aspects. I think it comes down to the ground game for the Chicago Bears, and I think it comes down to the turnover battle. I saw a stat that the Bears are like 1-5 or 1-4, something like that, in games they don't win the turnover battle this year, which obviously is good for the Packers, who can't catch a cold at this point with their secondary. Your thoughts? Is it that easy for you as well?
Well, I think that the Bears have had remarkable success when they've had multiple turnovers. There's no doubt that the stats prove that out. The problem that I see in putting too much stock in these numbers that during playoff season is that how do you create them? And that, I think, is what creates the anxiety, is that, if you look at, typically football says you create turnovers by attacking the quarterback and blitzing. And Jordan Love is going to eat up and carve up the blitz if you do it the wrong way, because we've seen that happen before. He was perfect against the blitz at Lambeau the first time these two teams played. So it's all about method. I don't know, Sparky, honestly, if there's a lot of confidence in the Bear defense right now, because they've got guys who can't cover in man coverage. They've got zones that are too soft, and they got pass rushers that aren't in a hurry to get to the pocket. So right now, the Bear defense is its biggest liability. The problem that happened against the Lions, and the problem that could happen tomorrow night, is that if the offense isn't functioning at a high enough level, they can't play keep away, and they can't keep the opposing offense on the sidelines. The Bears function at their highest level when both running backs are getting the ball and they're moving the chains, and they're possessing the clock, and everything is keeping the defense off the field.
Exactly right. And that's where the concern is, I think, from a Packers fan standpoint, is can they slow those two guys down? They did a pretty good job in the first half of that last game, and then eventually they started to get tired and wear down, and that's when that Bears running game got going. The other thing that's been talked about is experience. It's been brought up to Matt LaFleur. I'm not sure if it's been brought up to Ben Johnson, but the Packers have experience in the playoffs. LaFleur has coached in it, obviously, a number of years. Jordan Love has played in it a couple of years. Ben Johnson's first time being a head coach in this situation. Caleb Williams' first playoff game. How much of a factor do you think that is?
I think it could be a big factor in game management down the stretch. I think Matt LaFleur has been there and done that. Ben Johnson, as much as he is somewhat revered in Chicago in season one, fact of the matter is he hasn't done that. And then playoff mistakes are more indelible than regular season mistakes. And until you get through your first playoff game blemish-free, you really haven't done that. So I believe that, to me, it's the Packers' pedigree versus the Bears' belief. And the Bears believe that Ben Johnson is a better coach, and he's the guy that is got the answers, and Caleb Williams is the franchise quarterback. But it's one thing in believing, and it's the other thing in doing. So, yeah, I mean, there's a healthy level of confidence. I think experience is something that does matter in the postseason. I tend to favor that when looking at teams and making decisions on who's going to do well and who isn't. And I think right now the Packers clearly have that advantage. Not all experience is good experience, and I think that's what the Bears are banking on, that Jordan Love will morph into the player that he was last year in the postseason, and not the one who made his postseason debut carving up the Cowboys a couple of years ago.
David Haw of Mully and Haw on 670 The Score. Follow him on X, David Haw. We talk about Caleb Williams. How has he changed under Ben Johnson, obviously in the positive, and what are the things you think he still needs to work on for next year?
He's become a detail guy. He's in command of the offense. He is one of these guys that is, maybe came into the league as a little bit more smooth and cool and polished, and now he's a guy that will, drill on the details. And I think it's been nice to see. It's as simple as describing you're seeing somebody become a professional, and a really good professional. Caleb Williams, he handles interviews the right way. He's good with his teammates. He's terrific in the community. He's been a joy to cover, frankly. And, you see this year under Ben Johnson, him just improve the little things. And I think he's gotten better in the clutch, and he gets a lot of attention for that. What can he do better? He can certainly be more accurate. He can hit the layups every quarterback needs to do. He can give them, his receivers, the ball in stride. He can do a lot of the little things that still will come. But right now, in 2 seasons, I think that as much hype as he accompanied him into the NFL, he has met many of those expectations. And he has done it with a panache, if you will, because he's got a lot of style, but he also has a lot of substance.
David, the other part about this, too, I think, is the kicking game for both of these teams, because if the winds are going to be strong, I was hearing, 25-mile-an-hour winds or whatever going on at Soldier Field possibly tomorrow night. Even though I like McManus and he's kicked a lot better here recently, I still give it to the Bears kicker, Cairo Santos, in that situation because he kicks in those type of conditions, regardless of who they're playing or what time of year. Just like when Mason Crosby was in Green Bay for all those years, he knew how to play in different situations. If it comes down to a kick at the end of the game, I think if I'm a Bears fan, I feel better about my kicker than probably the Packer fans will about theirs.
And that's a great point, because that comes from a guy who's seen a lot of Bears-Packers games and understands those dynamics, because that may be what gives, I think, the Bears a slight edge. That to me is as much the home field advantage as anything. We talk about the conditions and the crowd and all those things, but I think sometimes it could come down to the kicker. You're going to be in the fourth quarter and you're going to need, might be 5 minutes to go, might be 2 minutes to go, but you're going to need a field goal maybe to go ahead or to tie, whatever the case is. Maybe you don't want to blow an extra point. Cairo Santos is going to have an advantage just because he's been there longer and understands the wind patterns and knows exactly how to handle himself. And I think that gives the Bears a slight edge.
All right, time to make predictions, David Hall. Who you got in this game, buddy? I'm assuming you're going to pick the Bears, but I'll ask anyhow.
I am. I think it's hard to pick against the Bears right now only because the Packers have yet to win without Micah Parsons. I will remind you, at the beginning of the season, geography aside, whatever the case may be, I did pick the Packers to win the Super Bowl. That was when they had Micah Parsons. It was an asterisk. When he went out, I knew this was a different team. I think a different team shows up tomorrow night on the lakefront. I think the Bears score 23, the Packers score 21.
Oh, 23-21. All right. I mean, the one thing that we should all know, and Packer fans do, Packers need to get to 27 normally to win this season. It's a crazy number. Look at their schedule and their wins. It's pretty much 27 or more for them to win. If it's a low-scoring game, they pretty much always lose. I think the one game where they scored more than 27 was that Cowboys game where it was 40-40. But for the most part, they get to 27, they win. That's the magic number for the Packers. We'll see if they can get there. David Hall, thank you so much for coming on, man, and we'll see how this plays out tomorrow night.
Great, Sparky. Thanks for asking.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, David Hall. Follow him on X at David Hall on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Always enjoy having David Hall on. I'll be honest, I enjoy having him more when the trader is in the conversation for the Cubs during the course of a season, because that tends to get him riled up a little bit more than this Bears team does. I wonder how many hosts in Chicago on sports talk radio, and there's like 3 stations or whatever down there now, plus you have that CHGO podcast thing that they do or whatever in YouTube. So all those guys, I wonder how many are picking the Green Bay Packers that are broadcasting in Chicago to Bears fans. How many you think are taking the Packers to win that game? And how many do you think in this state of Wisconsin, La Crosse, Wausau, Duluth Superior, Green Bay, wherever it may be, Menominee, wherever we are, right? How many are taking the Bears that aren't Bears fans, Rami, Charlie, that aren't Bears fans, that are Packer fans, that are taking Chicago the other way, Charlie?
I feel like in Chicago, a lot of those hosts, you have to say Chicago. I don't think you can say anything else, no matter how trepid you are on this topic, whether it's how close the lines are or what everybody else is saying that's influencing your take. I feel like in your hometown, you got to vote for your hometown team. And I feel like the Chicago Bears have had such a good season that it's hard to vote against them right now, even if you do feel like the Packers maybe have more experience going into that. Up here in the state of Wisconsin, I think there's a lot of Packers fans that maybe are a little not as sold on their own team as Bears fans are on their Bears team, even though that Bears team hasn't proven nearly as much as this Packers team has. I think people are worried about the injuries. I think people are worried about the coaching staff maybe when they shouldn't be, and that influences their take. I think you have more people up here saying the Bears are going to win than maybe people down there saying the Packers are going to win.
I love that. I bring up to David Hall about the fan bases, both not too sure about their team. He agrees with me. Charlie follows up with, I think Bear fans are completely buying into their team. Packer fans, they're kind of worried and concerned. I love you, Charlie Hughes. Packer Bears week this week has been unbelievable. This has been the closest to the most Chicago side Charlie has been in the year plus that we've worked together. Hey, in a world of tenders, Wendy's decided to make something more juicy, more crispy, and more dippable. New chicken tenders are here. Some might call them tendies, and yes, it's fun to say and even more fun to eat. Wendy's new chicken tendies come with an insane new sauce lineup. The Wendy's Signature, my favorite by far. The new sweet chili or new scorching hot, or choose one of the classics. Honey barbecue, creamy ranch, or honey mustard. Whatever you choose, they're the perfect vessel to dip all your tendies in. Wendy's new chicken tenders are so juicy, crispy, and dippable, you'll remember them forever. Gotta have tendies. It's gotta be Wendy's, and I know you will be shocked, Charlie, to find out that the family did Wendy's again this weekend. The kids had chicken nuggets because they're losers. Kay and I had chicken tendies, and we are winners at the end of the day.
I see.
I'm sorry. If you go to Wendy's and don't,
because they get chicken nuggets instead.
they don't understand. And again, I credit that in large part because their brains aren't fully developed yet and all of that. They haven't figured out life. But they should just listen to their parents and be like, listen, the chicken tendies are the best thing going on planet Earth right now at Wendy's. And ordering anything other than that, you're absolutely out of your damn mind. And you've been together with me a long time. Have I ever sold so hard anything at Wendy's that I have the chicken tendies?
No, not that I can think of. Not that I can think of. You've been in love with these since they dropped.
Since the first time. I think I've had them 10 times already. Something like that. 8 or 10 times. I'm telling you, tendies are amazing over there at Wendy's. Charlie, Sounds of the Day brought to you by Prize Picks. Coming up next, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at Natty Oaks on National Avenue in West Dallas. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Here at Natty Oaks in West Allis, National Avenue. This is where you're going to want to be. The food is amazing. It's so good. I had that Philly cheesesteak earlier, fried. They give you a chocolate chip cookie with it. Great beverages, great bartenders, great wait staff as well. Number one when it comes to customer service here at Natty Oaks. And if you are a Christmas obsessive person like me, you will love this bar. They got Christmas ornaments hanging from the ceiling, oversized Christmas lights hanging from the ceiling. I already talked to Kay. She said we can do this at home next year in the living room. Because I got the 4 Christmas trees in the living room, and then we put this on the ceiling, Charlie. Man, I'm going to sell tickets to come through our house. I think that's going to be what we're going to do.
You're so lucky that your wife just, again, likes all the same things as you. It feels like it's just meant to be. I have a giant M&M statue in my apartment that holds stuff on top of it. My girlfriend hates it. So
Charlie,
I
have you ever
been? Those, but she won't let me have more of them.
Charlie, have you ever been to the M&M store before?
I have.
In Vegas?
I have. Not in Vegas. Actually, I think I went in Vegas when I was really little. I don't remember. But in New York, I went to the one in New York.
I've been to that one too. Yeah, the M&M stores are amazing. I've been to one in Vegas and in New York. Love both of them. All right, time to get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. High-pressure playoff matchups every weekend, lead hoops action almost every night. The action never stops, and Prize Picks lets you take control. It's daily fantasy is all it is. All you're doing is looking to go more or less on 2 or more player stat projections set by Prize Picks. So it could simply be Jordan Love more or less than a certain amount of yards and so forth. Plus, they have max discount players from time to time, too. This week, the max discount player is Caleb Williams for the Chicago team. Now, listen here. I didn't do this yesterday, and I wanted to make sure we did it today, and we didn't run out of time. Here is the lineup, Charlie, that I put together. I put it on X earlier today as well. And I feel good about this lineup. I do. I feel really, really good about how this is going to work at the end of the day. Fernando Mendoza, more than 212.5 passing yards tonight against Oregon. How do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good about that. I think that's definitely likely.
Okay, very good. Then we have Caleb Williams, more than a half a passing yard. That is the max discount play. Gotta like that, right? And then we have Jordan Love, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns in this game. How do we feel about that?
That's one I was a little more shaky on. Again, I said I like Josh Jacobs earlier. I think I could see him having more than maybe 1.5 personally. Jordan Love is one I'm a little shaky on.
Yep. So we will see how this all plays out. So that is what I am doing this weekend. You can do the same thing. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SPARKY, SPARKY, to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's going to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Charlie, where are we going first?
All right. Since we were just talking to David Haw, I guess I'll stick with the 670 kick over here. I have Marshall Harris of Rahimi Harris and Grody over there on 670. He is intrigued by the chess match between Bears head coach Ben Johnson and Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley.
Can we agree on something? Jeff Hafley has gotten the better of Ben Johnson in these 2 games.
Yeah. Yep.
Like straight up. He has not looked like the Ben Johnson we've seen on so many other occasions as the Bears offense has become the identity of this team, to be honest. So knowing that, I'm just so curious to see what adjustments Ben Johnson's making on his end. Be like, you might have fooled me twice, but you're not going to get me a third time. And that brings me really to my key of the game, which is more about the Bears defense and Dennis Allen. B+2 in turnovers. You want to win the game, B+2 in turnover differential.
Which is a pretty good bet for the Bears, to be honest.
No, it's not a good bet because they've gotten the bulk of their turnovers against bad teams who are not currently in the playoffs. So you've got 4 here, 3 there against different, but it's not like outside of that Eagles game where they got the plus Two, they also turned it over once, but they were plus on the road in Philadelphia. That's a big reason why they won that game. We all remember the strip on the tush push by Nashawn Wright. Yeah. I think in this game, I'm not saying they can't win without the +2, but they definitely can't win if they are at a negative in turnover differential. And the +2 makes me feel a lot better about their chances.
That's beautiful because that's exactly what we talked about earlier today. Is it more critical for the Packers to get turnovers, or is it more critical for the Bears not to get turnovers at the end of the day? And I just think with the way this Bear season has gone, they're going to get one, at least one, right? It's going to happen. It'll be a tip ball. Something goofy will happen. Somebody will drop the ball without being touched for the Packers, something dumb. So you're going to have to get the ball from the Packers side of things. And throughout most of this year, they've had so many opportunities to have interceptions, and the ball bounces off the cornerback's hands, and they don't secure the ball. This has to be the game where that changes. This has to be the game where you hold on to the ball. And as I said earlier, this would be the game where if I was Jeff Hafley, I would let them be more aggressive. If you feel like you can jump around, be aggressive. Don't wait for them to catch it. Just go try and see if you can pick it. If we give up a big play, safeties will stop them on the back end. If you think you have an opportunity to strip DeAndre Swift by going for a punch and you miss the tackle, fine. This has to be the game where they get super aggressive trying to get the ball from that Bears offense. That's what I would implore going into this thing. I agree with him, though. If the Bears lose a turnover battle, the Bears are getting beat and possibly badly.
I think so. And I think that if you're going to give up that turnover that we're kind of guaranteeing for the Packers offense to give up, you want it to be early in the game. And like I said earlier on, you also don't want it to lead to a score. You want to be able to stop it. You want it to kind of go exactly how it went in that first game. Jordan Love got that interception out of the way, and then the Bears didn't score on the other end. That's how you need it to go in this game as well. All right, up next, we're going to hear from Field Yates on NFL Today. He was discussing what the Packers need in order to beat the Chicago Bears.
Throughout the course of this game, where he's going to get man coverage down the field, he's going to have an opportunity to throw the football to Christian Watson. Dennis Allen, the Bears defensive coordinator, understands that his defense simply isn't good enough up front rushing the passer to just rely upon guys creating their own pressure. Sometimes it's going to have to be an extra body from the second or the third level. There's going to be opportunities for Jordan Love to take a shot down the field, and Christian Watson, since his return from that torn ACL, I believe has played the best football of his career, guys. I think this is a guy that could be one of the difference makers on Saturday night. I cannot wait for the rubber match. Anytime you play a team 3 times in one season, you're bound to see a lot of the stuff that you have seen already, but perhaps more interestingly, a couple of the curveballs that have not yet been put on tape.
Okay, that's fun. And yeah, I'm sure you'll see some curveballs from Ben Johnson's offense. Maybe he'll bring the punter in to play quarterback. Who knows with that fool what he's going to come up with for the Bears offense. And they may hit one trick play on you or whatever. The one thing is you can't get rattled by that. On the defensive side of the ball, I want to see how much Dennis Allen blitzes. Because Dennis Allen, the last time that he did that, Jordan Love torched him for 3 touchdowns. I want to see what happens this time. Remember, the last game, Jordan Love didn't finish. So let's see what happens here for a full game if they're going to continue to blitz. Secondly, Jeff Hafley's defense, I've advocated for this all week. I don't want them blitzing a ton. I don't want them to be overly aggressive. I want Caleb Williams to stay in the pocket, and let's see if he can beat you with his arm. Because when Caleb Williams starts running right or left, that's when he's the most dangerous. You get him in the pocket, not as good. Has been that way all year, and I prefer him to stay there. I don't care if he can read War and Peace while he's back there. Make him throw the ball from the pocket, have a spy in the middle, whether it's Cooper or Quay Walker. Don't let him run. And again, that dumb naked bootleg that they run has killed the Packers too. So I don't know how you deal with that, but that's something else to keep an eye on.
All right. And last up here, we're going to hear from Ryan Fitzpatrick on his podcast with Andrew Whitworth, discussing why he's taking the Packers over the Bears this weekend.
Here's what I would do if I was the Packers. Put everything you have into stopping the run. I think that's really important. Yep. Don't let Caleb off the hook by playing a ton of man coverage. As a quarterback, it's very easy if you play man coverage for me to pick my matchup, for me to take off and run, and for you not have anybody accounting for me. And so I think Caleb, when it's man coverage, is at his best. He doesn't have to think that much. He can rely on his arm and his talent. So don't let him off the hook. Play a bunch of zone. Let's see what we can do there. The thing I love about Jordan Love is that he doesn't discriminate with his receivers. Like, he's got a bunch of different dudes that he throws it to. We still haven't seen that Jaden Reed game where he's going to go off for 120 yards. I think this one might be it. So I've been going back and forth, and I really want the Bears to win this game. But, dude, I think I'm going with the Green Bay Packers.
Did I miss something? Did he play for the Bears? Did he work for the Bears? Is
No.
he from Chicago? Why is he rooting for the Bears then?
It's a better story.
Oh, stop.
What do you
Come
mean
on.
stop? It is.
No random person just rooting for the damn Bears just to win the game. They have no affiliation one way or the other. Like, you either have to be from Chicago, have worked for the organization, having played for the organization, have a family member in the organization. You just don't root for the Chicago Bears. That's just not a thing in this country. People just don't root for the Bears. People root for the Packers.
True.
Oh, it is. Absolutely. Nobody just roots for the Bears just because.
I think people
Like,
root for
you
the
don't go
Bears
down
over like the Chargers if they're just going to pick
No.
a random team.
Now, why?
I don't know. The Bears have more history. They have more to it. They're a historic franchise. How could they not have random fans across the country?
Coming up next, our Green and Gold update. Ryan Wood, Packers beat writer for the Green Bay Press-Gazette, will join us straight ahead on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at Natty Oaks, baby. Come on out, National Avenue in West Allis. We'll see you out here till 6 o'clock.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again. Welcome in. We are out here broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Natty Oaks, West Allis, Wisconsin, National Avenue. Amazing food, great drink specials, TVs everywhere. If you're looking for somewhere to go watch playoff game coming up tonight, or the playoff games on Saturday and Sunday, maybe the Green Bay Chicago game tomorrow night, I'm sure this place will be hopping with Packers and Bears fans probably in here watching. As I've said all day, if you're a big Christmas guy like myself, a Christmas lady, you will love the decorations hanging out here at Natty Oaks, something you definitely have to come and check out, if for no reason that, and then have a great meal while you're here. Another guy that loves Christmas, big Christmas guy, joining us now on the guest hotline. Powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. There he is, Ryan Wood, Green Bay Press Gazette Packers beat writer. Follow him on X at by Ryan Wood. How are we doing, Ryan Wood?
Man, why you got to lie to the people like that? Why you got to give a false truth?
Just, we're converting you. Yeah, we're converting you little by little.
Years. You know what I do love, Sparky? I love me some food. I love me some beer. I tell you, I feel like you're really rubbing it on thick there because I wasn't able to see you live today. We just got on the road here. My colleague Dominique Yates and I down to Chicago, and I couldn't see it. You're rubbing it in thick.
Who's driving?
I'm driving. I was driving.
Why? He trusts you to drive?
Yeah. I'd feel. I got 3 kids. I shuttle them all over the place. I'd feel very weird if I was not behind the wheel. It's just kind of.
Oh, so it's a control thing.
I wouldn't say that. I'm not some control monster. Yes, it's a control thing.
Yeah, it's a control thing. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, fine. All right, let's talk about Dontayvion Wicks not playing in this game, ruled out with that concussion. I mean, we're seriously in a situation here, even though Adam Senovich said, Matthew Golan's not going to have any type of real role, prominent role in this offense. Don't look now, but he's one injury away to one of those top 3 guys, Reed, Watson, or Dobbs getting hurt, to having to play a prominent role in this game all of a sudden.
He is. I mean, at the end of the day, you take this trade. They didn't have Christian Watson last year going to Philly. They have Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs now. Yep. They didn't have Christian Watson last year. You'd rather have it like this. And I get Dontayvion Wicks is very talented. I think that he certainly factors into the plans next year. He can go off anytime you least expect, including Thanksgiving in Detroit, where he had 6 of his catches on 7 targets for 94 yards. To both his touchdowns this season, that win against the Lions. He's not chopped liver, but you take this trade, Spark.
Yeah, absolutely I would. But it's not where they were last year to where they are now. It's coming off of the last game. He drops 2 of 3 balls. Confidence probably isn't all that high. And now potentially to be in a situation to where you might get to go be the guy when everybody had counted you out, I think would be a pretty cool story. I don't want anybody getting hurt. I'm not rooting for anybody to get hurt. I'm just saying it could be a cool little side story here that you and I are talking about on the Green Bay Football Postgame Show, powered by Lakeland University, tomorrow night, 10 to midnight. Josh Albrecht and myself, Tommy Wirtz, is off tomorrow night for the game between Green Bay and Chicago. When we look at this matchup, the experience that Matt LaFleur has gained the last couple of years with Jordan Love, right? You go down to Dallas, you kick their butt. You go to San Francisco and have every opportunity to win it but can't close. Last year, obviously, did not go the way that you wanted. Now you come into this game and you're banged up across the board. Yet I don't feel like Packer fans are willing to give Matt LaFleur the excuse of, well, they're really hurt. That's why they lost. I don't feel like that's going to be a given. What's the one thing Matt LaFleur needs to do in this game to make sure they're in the best position to win?
Call really, really good plays in the red zone. Like, make sure you get the right play in the red zone, because they cannot go 0 for 5 like they did in their last trip to Chicago. Had they gone 1 for 5 3 weeks ago in Chicago, the onside kick doesn't even matter. They over. That can't happen. So I mean, that's the biggest thing. But Sparky, you hit on the point where this is probably the best game of wild card weekend. I think Bills Jaguars is going to be really good, but this is Packers Bears. This is a true coin flip game. What's the real advantage between these two teams, if there is one? To me, the one that's glaring is the experience level. This is Matt LaFleur's 9th playoff game. It's been Johnson's first. This is Jordan Love's 4th playoff start. Caleb Williams first. They got Joe Thuney on that Bears roster. And I think that is obviously big. But the Bears have 11 of their 22 starters that's never played in the playoffs before. The Packers only have one starter, either side of the ball, that's never been in the playoffs before. He's a right guard, Anthony Belton. That's it. That's a huge advantage. If you go back before the Micah Parsons trade going into the season, the Packers were expected to be a contender in this conference because they still had their youth, but they've gotten their scars now. They've gotten that experience. This needs to be a game where that experience matters. I mean, it couldn't have set up much better from that end, having the much more experience than your opponent this week.
Talking with Ryan Wood, the Green Bay Press Gazette Packers beat writer. Follow him on X at @RyanWood. When we talk about this game, right tackle obviously is something to keep an eye on as far as Zach Tom. If he plays, how long will he play? And if he doesn't play, what then becomes the option at right tackle, Ryan Wood? How concerned are you about that position?
More concerned than I was earlier in the week when Matt LaFleur said that he was expecting Zach Tom to play. For him to then go take a step backward yesterday and say, basically it's a game-time decision, that wasn't great. And I don't know if Matt LaFleur let the cat out of the bag early and then it was some sort of smoke screen. You know how he is. He doesn't want to give any hints, and it was pretty definitive when he said, yeah, we expect Zach Tom to be back this week. That's not Matt LaFleur's style. So I don't know what to make out of it, except Zach Tom by tomorrow is going to be 4 days shy of a full month since his last game. I know that he sat out their Friday practice yesterday, but I would still be a little surprised if he wasn't on the field.
Yeah, well, my thing is he may be out of the field, but is he really going to play all 4 quarters? I mean, we've seen this before with these guys that return from injury for the Packers and then have to exit stage left sooner rather than later once they get into the football game. What's the next option?
How's he going to look, too? I mean,
well, that too.
4 days shy of a full month.
Yep.
Are you going to – I get the Bears don't have much pass rush, but are you going to put him back out in the playoffs and not have some chips for him? I also get that he's your best, most consistent, reliable offensive lineman, but a full month, it's going to be very interesting if he doesn't play. How do they bake that into the game plan, and how do they protect him? Because there's going to be some rust there. He hasn't had the physicality of NFL football for a month.
Right. What about the next guy? Is the next guy Jordan Morgan? Is it Kennard? Who is it?
Well, the Packers have shown us that it will be Jordan Morgan. He started the last 2 games without Zach Tom. When I asked Adam Stinovich to a much bigger point than this week, what's the plan for Jordan Morgan going forward? They've played musical chairs with him for 2 years now. He's shown you he's not a guard. What's the plan? Adam Stinovich made it very clear. He is a tackle going forward. Going forward meaning 2026. Maybe this week if Zach Tom doesn't play, they got to figure that out. I know no one wants to talk about development, even for a first-round pick in playoff week, but I thought that was a strong answer from Adam Stinovich that the musical chairs going forward are going to be over for Jordan Morgan. He's going to be your left tackle next year.
This offseason, they made a decision to go bigger on the offensive line. I said it was copying Philadelphia, who's run over people. You go out, you sign Banks to big money to come in and play guard as a gigantic guard. You draft another gigantic player and Escalade and Belton in the second round to add to it. You look at where they rank in pass pro and run blocking. It's nothing that makes you smile necessarily at the end of the day. Do you think they continue to invest in that style of offensive lineman going forward, or do you think they change course back to how they used to be?
That's a great question. I don't have a firm, solid answer on that because the Packers forever, because they've had franchise quarterbacks forever now. Right. It's always been protection first, and that's always been what it is. They made this pivot last year to get beefier, and I think that it's done some good things and some not so good things. I think that they found something with Anthony Belton at right guard. I'm very positive they found something with Sean Ryan at center. I would be very surprised if he's not the 2026 starting center for the Green Bay Packers.
Ryan Wood, I have a question. I have a question for you, Ryan Wood. Is Sean Ryan your favorite Packer?
He might be my favorite one to talk to. Here's the thing, and I know that you don't get a good feel for it talking live on the air for good reason. I like me a good swear word, Sparky. I like me some colorful language. And there's not anyone in that locker room that colorfuls the language more than Sean Ryan. Yes, I very much enjoy talking to Sean Ryan.
Okay, go on. Sorry, I feel like you always are talking about what Sean Ryan said. I was like, man, it kind of feels like this might be his guy in that locker room that he likes talking to the most. So it makes sense now. It makes a lot of sense. All right, go on.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. He's always good for some entertaining sentences. Yeah. Let's put it that way. But really, I think that they found something there with Sean Ryan. I think that he and Anthony Belton have really helped bring that ruggedness to the offensive line. Aaron Banks has been better since he started the year injured. He played through injuries the first several weeks. He just hasn't been what his price tag is, and that happens in free agency sometimes. So they're going to have some decisions to make for the offensive line for sure going forward. And there's going to be some changes. Again, Jordan Morgan left tackle. That seems likely as well. Going into this game, though, you got to do both. You got to. It's all hands on deck because that defense is going to have his hands full with the Bears offense.
What do you expect this offense to look like from Matt LaFleur going into this game, Ryan Wood? Is this a situation where, okay, we know our defense could get tired out if they get this running game going for Chicago. So in order to rest them, we want to control the clock when we have the ball. So we're going to focus on trying to run this ball with Josh Jacobs? Or is it a situation of we know we're going to have to score a bunch of points in this game. Our defense isn't what it was, so we're going to attack through the air as much as possible?
Well, these two teams are in basically the exact same situation, which is they both want their offenses on the field as much as possible because it means their defense isn't on the field. And they definitely don't want their defense on the field as much as possible. So it was ball control offense for the Packers, and some of that was obviously Malik Willis and what he brought to the offense schematically and the fact that he uses his legs more in the scheme after Jordan Love went out with the concussion. But I think that would have been the plan anyway, is ball control offense the last time they were there at Soldier Field. I think the Bears are in the same boat, though. I mean, to me, so much of this game comes down to one question. Can Ben Johnson be self-disciplined enough to just line it up over and over again under center, hand it off, and pound this Packers defense on the ground? That if they do, the Bears are going to win this game. If they have 30 cold runs, they're going to win. I have very little confidence that Ben Johnson can do that because twice now against the Packers, I've seen him get too cute. I mean, that is the same recipe last time they were in Soldier Field. First fourth down of the game, it's 4th and 1, 10-yard line. They have the tight end go under center, and then they snap the ball over the running back's head. There's no need for that. Get the yard. Twice he's not gotten the yard. He's gotten too cute. If they go less than 30 cold runs in this game, I think the Packers win. Like, so much of it is that, but that, again, it goes back to the experience level. It goes back to this has been Johnson's first playoff game. That's the recipe. Can he do it? Packers offense, they know that. They're going to want to keep their offense on the field. It's going to be ball control. Neither of these defenses have much of a prayer, though. It's hard not seeing this devolve into some sort of a shootout.
First of all, I will say that Ben Johnson may not punt this game. I don't care where they are on the field. He is going to be probably more over-the-top aggressive than we've ever seen Ben Johnson or Dan Campbell in a game. I could all but guarantee you that's how this is going to be. Maybe he'll work on some of them, and maybe it'll backfire on others. But no matter what happens, it's not going to stop his aggressive nature. This Packers defense, we've been talking about this week. I say blitz minimally. I don't care if he has time to read War and Peace in the pocket, Caleb Williams. I just don't want him running right or running left and being able to either run upfield or throw the football. I'd like to keep him there with a spy in the middle and make him beat you with his arm. That would be my approach. What about yours?
Yeah, I think Jeff Hafley certainly had the right game plan 3 weeks ago. They were able to pressure Caleb Williams, but all their pressures were coming from like the slot and like they were pressuring to keep him in the pocket, really targeting the bootlegs that hurt him at Lambeau Field. And it worked. It worked up until it didn't at the very end, right? But for 57 minutes of that game, they dominated that Bears offense. I would imagine, given the sample size there, 57 minutes to 3+ overtime, you're going to see very much the same type of game plan again. They got to stop the run, and then they got to keep Caleb Williams in the pocket. They cannot let him gut him with play extensions. Caleb Williams can hurt you. He can beat you with his arm. He showed that on that pass in overtime. But you'd much rather go down that way than the run. I mean, to me, this week, it's all about stopping the run.
Ryan Wood, time for your prediction on the game coming up tomorrow night. You, of course, will join us after the game on the Green Bay Football Postgame Show, powered by Lakeland University here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network tomorrow night, 10 to midnight. What's your prediction?
Well, you're mighty upset with me last time I was driving down to Chicago, Sparky.
Yep, and you were right.
I picked the Bears to win that game. And do you remember you tried to give me my flowers after that game? You remember I wasn't really much in the mood to receive my flowers because even though the Bears won, the Packers outplayed the Bears, and they surprised me that night. I did not expect to see that. In this type of a pressure cooker, that was a big game 3 weeks ago, and I don't think the Bears for much of that game handled the pressure well of being at home. If the Packers get off to a third straight hot start against the Bears this season, the pressure of December 20th is nothing like it's going to be a wild card at home. I think the Packers experience, and I think the fact that they have Jordan Love back, and I think they have an idea of how to attack this Bears offense. I want to take the Packers in this one, but it's going to be close. And if the Bears have 30 called runs in this game, they are going to win. But I'll take the Packers.
He is Ryan Wood, Green Bay Press Gazette Packers beat writer. He's on his way down to Soldier Field. I hope you're dressed warm because I'm seeing like 25, 30 mile an hour wind for that game tomorrow.
Well, it's 37 degrees right now in Green Bay. Feels like 73, but I did remember to bring the coat because some of the coldest moments of my entire life have been walking into Soldier Field with that lakefront wind in Chicago late in the season. So you never forget the coat when you go to Soldier Field.
Yeah, good idea. Follow him on X by Ryan Wood. Ryan, thank you so much for coming on, buddy. I appreciate it. Safe drive.
Hey, take care, Sparky.
There he is, Ryan Wood on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Coming up next, our brand new segment. We're going to do it every Friday. Today is episode number 1. We're going to need your help as well. Plead the Fifth Friday. Brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. Next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from Natty Oaks on National Avenue in West Allis. If you've never been, shame on you. The food here is amazing. Every person in here right now, if I walked around with a microphone, would all testify to how great this food is. Every person in here, if I walked around to testify, would say how great the service is. Unbelievable. Great waitresses, great wait staff, great bartenders out here at Natty Oaks, and they got shuttles that go pretty much everywhere. I was talking with a friend of mine, said, I'm going to go at Natty Oaks and then take the shuttle over to see Rascal Flats. How cool is that? That's coming up in a couple of weeks. Brewers game, American Family Field. They got shuttles throughout the Brewer season as well. So make sure to take advantage there. And probably Admirals games too would be my guess. And when the Admirals score 4, it's a frosty 4 at Wendy's. They scored 7 times last night. Stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after the Admirals score 4. So act fast and get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's. Time for our brand new segment.
It's a Plead the Fifth Friday, sponsored by Habish and Rotier. Who should have just kept their mouths shut? Who made a bad decision commenting on a topic they shouldn't have? Let's hear who you think should plead the fifth this week on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
All right, here we go. Now, this is going to be a fun one here, right? Plead the fifth. We know what that means, right? I don't got to talk to you. Plead the fifth. And there's so many times when we listen to people talk on press conferences or on sports talk on TV or on the radio. It's like, man, would you just be quiet, man? Just don't talk on that. You're just going to get yourself in trouble, right? Plead the fifth. We want more of these people to quit talking so much and plead the fifth. At the end of the day. Thanks to Habish Rotier for doing this segment. We're going to do it every Friday. Throughout the week, you can always nominate somebody in a soundbite to myself or Charlie using the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, or you can do it during the segment as well. And it's really quite that simple. All you got to do is dial it up or text us 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Every Friday, we're going to do it at 4:20. And you can also nominate people in the Dugout YouTube chat where we stream live on YouTube and on X at WI Sports Radio. All right, time to plead the fifth. Brought to you by Habish and Rotier. Where to first, Charlie?
Well, you brought up when you were hyping up this segment earlier in the show, all the different people that make you mad, the Stephen A. Smiths, the Chris Collinsworths, all of them. Yep. I wanted to go with somebody that you didn't mention, but I know is on your list, Nick Wright of Fox Sports 1. First things first. He has definitely had some pretty crazy takes over the past few years, but in this clip, he was describing first how much he loves Caleb Williams, but the part that I'm going to play is the part where he says he doesn't believe in Jordan Love.
And even if I'm wrong that Caleb's better than Jordan right now, you're not, I don't believe, going to get crisp A Jordan Love. I don't think you miss 3 weeks and all of it, you know what I mean? You are in your first game back instantly, as sharp as can be, especially now he's been dealing with this part for a while without what I would consider your best weapon and safety blanket in Tucker Kraft. And so all of that.
His backups played pretty well, though.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Who was actually, as you pointed out, the guy who was higher draft pick the same year was supposed to be the better of the two players, but it's still not Tucker Kraft, who might have been en route to being the best tight end in football this year. I also don't love, if I'm Jordan Love in this spot, the type of defense the Bears have, which is, yes, I understand it's a bad defense, but it also is a defense that forces turnovers. When that has been, when you say Jordan Love had one great game, one mediocre game, one awful game, the reason the mediocre game was mediocre was a game-sealing pick, and the reason the awful game was awful was 3 picks. Like, he has been, in his limited postseason experience, a guy that'll put the ball in jeopardy.
The great thing there about Nick Wright is when he talks about Jordan Love and versus Caleb Williams, and he comes up with these reasons of why, Jordan Love isn't going to do great. And one of the reasons, obviously, is not Tucker Kraft. To which I'd say, yeah, that's fair. Tucker Kraft's a stud. The only counter to that is you do realize they played without Christian Watson and only had Tucker Kraft. And since then, they play without Tucker Kraft, and Christian Watson has gone off. So, yes, it would be nice to have them both. And, yes, they definitely would win if they had Tucker Kraft 2 out there. They don't. I don't think that's a big deal at the end of the day as far as why they won't win this football game. The turnover defense, or the defense for the Chicago Bears. He says, hey, they're horrible, but they get turnovers. Sure. If you're going to hang your head on, they're definitely going to get 1 or 2 turnovers, and they're going to give up 30 points, and that's going to be enough to win the game. Then I guess you can go that way. It feels like to me there are certain guys in the media that are anti-love, have been anti-love since this whole thing began, and just refuse to get off of that bandwagon. And at some point, something's going to have to change, right? Either he's going to win an MVP, and then they're going to have to be quiet. They're going to win a Super Bowl with him as quarterback, and then they're going to have to be quiet. If neither one of those things do not happen, they're going to continue to talk, and we'll never get them to plead the fifth. That is how this is going to have to finally end, to where they finally be quiet. What else?
All right, next up, somebody that was notoriously pleading the fifth throughout the majority of the past season and a half, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, about whether or not he was going to stick with the Bucks, broke his silence yesterday in an interview with Sam Amick of The Athletic, and he said he is sticking with the Bucks as long as they want him to be around. That's what he said. 1,000% he wants to finish his career with the Bucks. Well, Kevin O'Connor, NBA analyst, decided that that wasn't good enough, and he feels like Giannis was just trying to pass the buck in that interview.
This is Giannis avoiding accountability. I wrote it in December at the time this stuff first started breaking, that deep down inside, I think he wants the freedom to leave without the guilt of being the one who's saying goodbye to the Bucks. I think he's worried about Bucks fans burning his jerseys. That's not going to happen. I think it's an irrational fear. He wants to be looking like the good guy in this whole situation, but in reality, Tom, he is part of it. And he is part of the reason why these conversations are happening. I think he's avoiding all of this accountability. I would rather he be full-on honest about the situation rather than taking this type of approach. But ultimately, he's going to do what he's going to do. Whatever. It's his decision. But I don't think that this is going to be going away anytime soon here after this conversation. I think it's a continuation of everything that's been happening the past month, where it's Giannis putting it on his agent and on the Bucks as the people making this decision.
So, previous to that conversation with Sam Amick, I would have agreed with Kevin O'Connor. And it probably would have been the first time in my life that I have, being a guy that worked at the Ringer and a Boston guy, and one guy that I've never been a fan of. So I would have been the first time I would have agreed with him probably in my life. But I don't know how you can possibly read that Sam Amick piece and say he's not taking accountability. He said everything we've been wanting him to say. And as I said yesterday, it made my day, made my weekend. I'm happy. But if at some point he gets traded and it comes out that, well, the agent asked, it wasn't me. I never asked for it. What am I supposed to do? Then, as I said before, and I'll say again, officially done. We burned Brett Favre jerseys back in the day, had burn bins, the whole deal back at our station in Milwaukee, had a whole big event about it. Barbecue is what we called it. We had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Smash cars with that were painted purple and had number 4s written on them. $4 food and drink specials where we were at doing the barbecue. We made the national news, the ABC national news that night. Used to be like a half-hour show. We made the national news the night doing the barbecue. Would there be a Giannis Q? That doesn't even sound right. No, I don't think there'll be a Giannis Q. Will people be livid and mad? Absolutely. Because he went all in now to say, I want to finish my career in Milwaukee. I want to be in Milwaukee. I will never ask out. Now, again, he also left it open of, one day my wife may wake up and decide she doesn't want to be with me. One day the Bucks owner may wake up and decide he doesn't want me. So he left himself out to a degree, yes. But that was far more assertive than any other interview he's done to this point. Sam Amick got way more out of him on the record than anybody else has to this point. So, again, I disagree with Kevin O'Connor on this one. Unfortunately, when we start talking about these guys like him and Shams Charania and the rest of them, none of those cats are going to plead the fifth until the man retires in a Bucks uniform. That's the only time. Because if he leaves at some point, they will all come back and tell Bucks fans, told you so. That's what's going to happen. Only chance they have of pleading the fifth is when the man retires in a Bucks uniform.
somebody who did a lot of talking throughout his NFL career, had more talking to do yesterday in this short clip from NFL Network. This is Martellus Bennett, former Chicago Bear and former Green Bay Packer, sharing his feelings for both cities.
I'm very excited for that as a franchise for the city of Chicago, because Chicago is a city that I hold very dearly in my heart, and I love it. Wisconsin, not so much. I can go without going to Green Bay ever again.
They don't want you back either. Yeah, I mean, look, the way that all ended, nobody wanted Martellus back on the Green Bay Packers by the time that relationship was done in Green Bay anyhow. When he was in Chicago, he was semi-successful. He was loved in the town. There was everything for him to do in Chicago that he wanted to do away from focusing on football. Listen, Green Bay is probably not the place for you if you want to party and do other things other than focus on football. It's just not. I mean, you can go talk to Micah Parsons right now. Go have the conversation. Micah, well, how is this different than when you were in Dallas? As far as you, your teammates, what was going on in Dallas versus now in Green Bay? There's no way it's the same thing. And he said the same thing to Diggs of, man, they work here. This is not where we came from in Dallas. They work here. It's all about football here. So, of course, Martellus Bennett would not like it being all about football. That man should just plead the fifth in general when it comes to anything being said by him about the Green Bay area or the Green Bay Packers. That was pleading the fifth. We're going to do it each and every Friday at 4:20. Brought to you by Habish, and Rotier, a Wisconsin law firm that's been around for nearly 100 years. National reputation, hometown experience, the people that you should trust in your time of need for certain. All right, I'll take a quick time out. It's Austin Herdenia time. See on video, Charlie.
He is indeed. He's already waiting for you, Sparky.
One of these days, one of these Fridays, when we do follow the money, I'm going to be wearing a suit and tie.
All
and
right.
when the video pops up, we're going to have a little style
We got
off
to learn how to do
between
cool,
Austin
like,
Herdenia
fire
on my time.
effects for you and stuff. They were just doing lightning effects on his. I saw it.
Well, I don't see it. It doesn't
I know,
do
not
me
yet.
any good.
Maybe they'll
right,
do
we
it
all
again
got to
later.
see it. Yeah, fine. I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if Charlie's good enough to do lightning effects and whatever else they're doing over there. But one of these times, we're going to have a little style off. I'm going to wear a suit. I'm going to be all dressed up, and we're going to get after it here on the live stream on YouTube on X at WI Sports Radio. Coming up next, follow the money time with Austin Herdenia of the Potawatomi Sportsbook manager over there. Where is all the money this weekend? Top three teams being bet on. And we'll talk to him next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook at Natty Oaks on National Avenue in West Dallas. Welcome back. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. How y'all doing? It's a football Friday. My thanks to David Haas, 670 The Score from Mully and Hall Morning Show down in Chicago. Joined us in the last hour, Ryan Wood, the Green Bay Press-Gazette Packers beat writer. He joined us as well this hour. He'll be on again tomorrow night. The Green Bay Football Postgame Show powered by Lakeland University. Myself, Josh Albrecht, tomorrow night. Ryan Wood will join us from Soldier Field. We'll hear from Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, all that fun stuff. 10 p.m. to midnight tomorrow night. Tommy Wirtz with a night off tomorrow. Also, coming up on Monday, another programming announcement, adding some more local programming to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. That announcement coming during the 9 to noon show with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. Again, coming up on Monday between 9 and noon, or in that show, I should say, 9 to noon. Another addition, right, as we continue to add more and more local programming to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. A homecoming of sorts, I guess you could say. I know, I'm pretty sure everybody will be fired up when they hear this one. So stay tuned for that coming up on Monday. Joining us now, it's time to follow the money. The Potawatomi Sportsbook manager, Austin Herdenia, who's at, of course, the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Big smile on his face because he's feeling good wearing his fun tie today that he has. I got to know, like, do you go and find new ties every week? Every Friday, do you find a different tie to wear on? Have you worn the same tie? If we went back on video, Austin Herdenia, and looked at all of our videos, would we find the same tie twice?
Yeah, you'll find the same tie twice, but I like to switch it up quite a bit. You know, I'm looking for a Green Bay Packer tie. I think I need to get one of those.
I do not have one. I have a Mickey Mouse tie that I really like. Big fan of the Mickey Mouse tie that I like. Yeah, there's a lot of little Mickey Mouses. I'm sure Charlie Using is stunned by that fact.
Yeah,
but yeah,
flabbergasted.
I flabbergasted, just blown away. Right. Okay, let's go here. First game, first team that has the most money put on it at the Potawatomi Sportsbook going into the weekend is the Green Bay Packers.
I tell you what, we're going to start at number 3 and go down to 1 this time, all right? Number 3 is the Green Bay Packers, -1.
Ah, jeez. That's it?
That's still third out of, 12? That's not bad.
But as long as the Bears aren't 1 or 2, I guess I'll be fine with this. If I hear the Bears are 1 or 2, we may have to go. Huh?
Absolutely not. No,
absolutely not. Okay, good.
You're liking the Packers this week. Got a lot of faith here.
That's good. And it's 1. How much has the line fluctuated at the Potawatomi Sportsbook throughout the week? Has it fluctuated at all?
It's gone a little bit. Yeah, it was pick 'em for a while. It's back to Packers -1. It's something -1.5 right now. It just moved to -1.5 as we're looking at it right now. So yeah, a lot of money coming in on the Packers for sure. A lot of people just, feeling like we own the Bears and we're going to do it again.
How do you feel?
I feel
the last time they played the last time they played the Bears, you, Austin Herdenia, were on this show and you said that you were taking the Bears. And then I had to come back the next week and apologize for blasting you for doing such a thing. Now, hold on, I'm not done. On that same show, earlier in that show. Yeah, earlier, I'm pretty sure.
No, you didn't get because he didn't come on the next show afterwards.
Oh, that's your fault then. Oh, well, that's his fault then. I forgot by the time he came on. I'm sorry. There you go. There's your apology. The earlier in that same show, in that same hour, Ryan Wood of the Green Bay Press-Gazette was on. He also picked the Bears that day. I did apologize to him. He was on earlier in this hour again before you, and Ryan Wood picked the Green Bay Packers to win this game, changing his mind and saying the Packers win this one. So it looks like he's feeling the Packers. Are you going right back down in the rabbit hole of the Bears?
I'm going with the Bears. And I think this is the game that turns the tide in the rivalry. I think that for so long, the Packers have just owned this matchup. But I think they got something special going on down there. I think Caleb Williams is the real deal. I think we're going to be talking about him as a Pro Bowler for years to come. I think he's really that guy.
Oh, my God. Somebody get me a shot. He's going to make me want to drink. You know what? If they win this game, I'm going to buy you a Bears tie. I'm going to buy you a Bears tie. And then you will fit right in with everybody.
For how well the Bears have been this year and how much they've surpassed expectations, if you're a Bears fan and you lose this game to the Packers, do you just count this year as another failure because you ended it with a loss to the Packers again?
I think Matt Spiegel was on earlier from the 670 The Score in the Mason Crosby show. He said if they lose, it'll take 3 weeks before people have a rational thought in their brain without being super angry. And then he said after 3 weeks, everybody will come to the thought of, hey, this was a damn good season. Nobody thought we'd be this good. Yeah, it stinks losing to the Packers, but it'll be okay at the end of the day. So I don't know. Either way, whoever loses this game, the other team's fan base is going to have a field day with that fan base on social media, and it's going to be ugly for whoever loses this game on social media. All right, team number 2.
Team number 2, we got Houston Texans -3 at Pittsburgh. That game's on Monday night. We're seeing just a lot of money on Houston coming in. I think people are looking at Pittsburgh as a team that kind of, didn't really exactly look like a really great team coming in. Houston is number 1 defense in the league. Can Rodgers do it again? Does he have some more magic in him? Seems like our bettors are saying no. What do you think?
I don't think I could bet against 12. I don't think I'd bet the game in general, but I definitely don't think I would bet. I mean, he doesn't wear 12 anymore, but I don't think I would bet against Aaron Rodgers. I don't. And with all due respect to that Texans team, I'm not sure I trust Stroud in the playoffs yet. I don't know if I'm there to see what this is going to look like. But that Texans defense is amazing. Not going to downplay that. All right, what's the number 1 team bet on going into the weekend at the Potawatomi Sportsbook?
Number 1 team, and by far, is New England Patriots -3.5. Just a lot of bets, a lot of money coming in on New England. They're playing Sunday night against the Chargers in Foxborough. I like the Patriots in this one too. I understand why people are going that way. They've been really solid on both sides of the ball all year. They're the healthier team in this matchup as well. Great coaches. Both teams have great coaches in that matchup, but I'm leaning towards Patriots as well.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the Patriots too. That one makes a lot more sense to me, for sure, more than anything else. Your Bears stuff just drives me nuts. He is Austin Hurt.
But real quick, the least team we've had bets on all week is the Eagles. Like no one, I don't know what it is, but no one's really believing in the Eagles.
Well, from a Packer fan standpoint, that'd be great if they get beat. I mean, if they're out, you beat the Bears, you got to get through Seattle, and then you're in. I mean, pretty much. And whoever's left is not going to be Philadelphia. Because really, if you're the Packers, if you beat the Bears, to beat the Seahawks, and then you have to beat the Eagles on top of that, I mean, that's 3 really physical football games they'd have to play and get through in order to get to the Super Bowl. That would be a really tough road. Eagles go bye-bye. Now, all of a sudden, it doesn't feel as difficult once you get past Seattle. I'm curious, what other thing, and then we got to go. Where's the money tonight on Indiana and Oregon in this college playoff game? Because obviously, I'm rooting for Signetti. But where's the money?
Indiana. People are betting on Indiana. They're believing in this fairy tale story that they've been just perfect record this year and came out of nowhere. I mean, this team is just unbelievable. You could make movies and write books about this team. It's pretty awesome. I'm an Indiana fan. I lived there for many years before moving back to Wisconsin. So go Hoosiers.
Yeah, I'm rooting for. I love Signetti. I just think he's a cool dude. I'm all about Signetti. So we'll see what happens with Indiana. I love having you on, even if you always pick the wrong team. In this case, the Chicago Bears twice now this year. Twice. All right. I hope you're wrong. You were right the last time, so I hope you're wrong this time.
I hope
have
I'm
a
wrong.
good weekend, Austin Herdin. I know you do. Austin, have a good weekend. Take care. There is Austin Herdina joining us here on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Time for things that we miss.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
All right, so a couple of different things. Number one, both kind of NBA stories. Number one, Ja Morant, apparently, according to reports, now it's Sharania, up to you. Believe what you want. According to reports, Ja Morant is officially on the trading block. Memphis is now open for business, taking offers on Ja Morant. We saw this with Trae Young, and he's gone, and the trade's already done. How quickly will Memphis move on Ja Morant, and will the Bucks be involved? I pray to God they're not involved on Ja Morant at this point, Charlie.
They've been one of the most rumored teams since that report has come out. What's also interesting from that same draft class, apparently Zion Williamson is also on the trade block by the New Orleans Pelicans. So both the top two picks of that draft are gone potentially.
No interest in Zion Williamson. no interest in John Morant at this point. That was the one thing. The second thing involving the NBA, we just had a topic earlier this week about the Bucks and potentially Anthony Davis making sense and getting done. Well, NBA teams, you lose because you didn't move soon enough. Because guess who's hurt? That's right.
Never fails.
Street clothes himself, Anthony Davis, hurt yet again with ligament damage in his left hand, out indefinitely after suffering that injury against the Utah Jazz. I mean, could you imagine his numbers if he was healthy every year? I mean, it'd be insane how great his numbers would be if he was actually healthy on a year-to-year basis.
Well, I mean, he was an NBA top 75 player when they had the 75th anniversary. He was in that group. And when he was younger, I think the workload that he took on in New Orleans really is taking effect later on in his career now. And now you can see how often he's just injured. I think it started from playing 40 minutes and scoring 20 points and getting 15 rebounds and blocking 5 shots a game in New Orleans.
No doubt. The other thing I want to point out, William Contreras, Brewers catcher, filed his arbitration case at $9.9 million is what he's looking for. The Milwaukee Brewers countered with $8.55 million. Jack Stern of BrewerFanatic.com, he was on earlier this week. If you go follow him on Twitter, he put together like 3 tweets in a row of how this is going to play out. William Contreras is going to lose. William Contreras tweeted out, wow, with a bunch of emojis next to it when he saw what was going on with the Brewers and what they filed for. It's not going to end well.
Don't know what
people talk about trading Freddie Peralta. They've got Cuero right there. They could get a bunch for William Contreras if they decide to go that way versus having an unhappy Contreras all year long, like we've seen with Burns and Hader. Tommy Wirtz coming up next. Wisconsin Sports Wrap Up, a special playoff preview. Green Bay and Chicago out here at Natty Oaks. Eli Berkovitz will join us coming up at 5:20. Come hang out with us till 6 o'clock. Natty Oaks, West Allis on National Avenue. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Have a good weekend. Talk to you tomorrow night after the game. Toodles.